You see the final score, we track the revenue stream. Welcome to the show that treats the sports world like the multi-billion-dollar business it is. We dissect the ownership deals, the television right battles, the NIL impact, and the media figures driving the entire narrative. From Wall Street to the locker room, we follow the money and the people who control the message. Welcome to Press Row, the business of sports, right here on the Empty the Bench Network. Now, here's your hosts, Callum McClurg and Nick Morgeson. Hello again, my friends. Happy Hump Day, and welcome into what we're calling episode 37 already of Press Row here on this beautiful, nice and sunny Wednesday on the West Coast. Sadly, though, 20 inches of snow still falling back in New York right now. Of course, he's Nick Morgeson. I'm Callum McClure, joining you folks here, even if some of us are 8 feet underwater again because of the weather changes out here on the West Coast. But, Nick, a lot of moving parts today for another action-packed episode of PR this afternoon. How's it going today, my friend? Great to see you as always.
I think I'm hurting from all the snow shoveling. I was just doing it again just now. We just got another 2 or 3 inches earlier this morning. So can you tell I'm snowed out? Like, literally.
No fatigue, baby.
I love snow. I'd rather it snow than be 95 degrees outside. But I've had it. I'm snowed out. I'm completely snowed out. I've had enough.
Uncle, I'm tapping out.
I'm tapping, like, not because I'm biased to my sports teams. I'm tapping out because of snow. Like, I can't do it anymore. I sent pictures to Cowan the other night.
Yes.
Like boulders of snow. Seriously, going on here in Long Island. I mean, it's unbelievable. Before we get into my escapades of snow, yes, there it is. And that's not the only one, but.
These things are huge.
You haven't seen anything, to be honest. But before we get into my escapades, follow the show on social media at Press Row ETB across all social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and when TikTok decides to not be a pain in the ass, at Press Row ETB. Follow the Empty the Bench Network at ETB Network, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at ETB Network, youtube.com/ETB Network to find everything that we are doing along with this show. And now that StreamYard and Twitter are cooperating in every way, shape, or form, we can bring you the proper show that we plan to do. So, finally, you're getting the show. And thank you. We now have 60 people watching a lot sooner than like we used to. So, thank you to everybody for kind of bearing with us in this whole annoying process. I had to go beat down StreamYard until they would listen. I'm like I'm trying to take down, I'm the WNBA trying to take down Kathy Engelbert. So, yeah, make sure you follow us on all these platforms and do that. But we got an unbelievable show. Sorry, no guest this week. Sorry. It's been one of those.
I tried at like the 11th hour to bring on a few guests who are covering the Olympics. No one budged.
I'm trying to find a W guest because I think that's the most entertaining topic right now. But we'll get, trust me, there's gonna be plenty of time to talk about the W, because I think we're in like day 149 of the lockout officially.
I believe that's right. Yes.
So trust me, that's gonna take up probably the first 20 to 25 minutes of the show at least. We're gonna talk about the new mandates in place that the W decided to put on the WNBA, and the players are not so thrilled about that currently. We'll get into that deadline in just a moment. We're going to get into the controversy, air quotes, controversy because it's stupid, about ESPN. Obviously, it's a public that they ditched baseball, and they're now doing women's sports Sundays. This has caused a massive stir across the world of professional sports.
For a lot of idiotic reasons.
I don't understand why people are overreacting to this. I understand from a technical standpoint, maybe why they're doing it, but there's really no reason to be reacting to it the way people are. We'll break that all down. Also, we're going to get into NBA tirades from Mat Ishbia, the owner of the Suns,
Yeah, boy.
who I don't like him, who was not happy. And we talked about Mark Cuban's comments a couple of weeks
Last week.
ago, which I think this is the tirade of him reacting to the Cuban comments, saying that basically he was tanking purposely and that he paid the fine. But we said that the last couple of weeks that
Yes.
owners are willing to pay the fines. They just don't give a shit about that situation. Also, Ian Rappaport's future up in the air. By the way, did you see the weird 1-year anniversary of the awkward story between him and Jordan Schultz came up?
Yes,
Do you remember that story?
I do.
That Schultz or that Ian Rappaport, he was claiming that Ian Rappaport claimed Jordan Schultz was giving Uber stock away to get insider information. If you remember that whole fiasco when it went down. So we'll get into that. He's one of the biggest insiders up there with Schefter and Pelissero and all those guys. And his contract is up with the whole ESPN NFL Network merger supposedly happening in the first 2 weeks of April. So we'll get into that. Also, more FanDuel closings, which are we really that surprised? FanDuel's going in the toilet. So we'll break that all down. Also, from the digital app side of things, the Gotham Sports app, which is the Yes Network. Well, it's like an all New York sports venture between Yes and MSG, finally lowering prices, which I did not expect. What? Now, I don't know if that has anything to do with, because they made the announcement that they're not going to have as many play-by-play and color analysts this upcoming season. I don't know if that has anything to do with it at all, but they're going to have Michael Kay and Ryan Rucco calling all the games this year, which makes sense because they're the two top guys.
That's a good duo to have right there.
It's a great duo. Don't get me wrong. But interestingly, they lowered the prices. Now, people are questioning, is it because they weren't making any money, or are they doing it because they actually want to build a rapport and build a subscription base? That's an interesting
walkout.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that later. Also, it wouldn't be a show without prediction markets in this show. And an awkward story between Fanatics and Polymarket, which Michael Rubin looks like a complete asshole right now. So we'll get into that whole situation. Can you block an employee from going to the competition? Which I never understood that you could actually do that. I didn't know, unless you're under a contract.
Non-competes.
Well, I'm talking about generally. If you're a contracted employee, you can't go to the competition unless you get out of your deal. And then we're going to get into Lakers price hiking, because that's good. That's good. Your team stinks. You're going to make the playoffs, but your team stinks. And you're going to raise the prices 45%. Okay. And then we're more Kalshi news, as well, as you probably saw the title of the episode if you're watching right now. March Madness wants all their stuff removed from Kalshi. And by the way, I don't blame them either. And then we'll go through a bunch of press clippings, and we'll talk a little bit of Olympics at the end, because we got to make sure we talk a little bit of that.
Absolutely.
Christy. So, all right, let's get into the show. Obviously, we're going to have... Already?
Well, it's the story that broke during our 5-minute introduction, though, about the WNBA. New reports have come out, though, that the league is now offering a supermax base salary of about $1.13 million, or 20% of a proposed $5.65 million salary cap. Players have proposed a salary cap just under $9.5 million. The league has not yet reached its line in regards to the cap. Sources have told the Front Office Sports. But of course, though, Nick, the lead story, though, right now is that the league has officially put out a March 10th deadline for a new CBA. If the deal is not reached by then, the league does want at the May 8th tip-off date for the season. The most anticipated one in league history with 2 new teams will be officially at risk. Training camps are set to open up on April 19th, and the window for logistics to fit in the expansion draft for both the Portland Fire and Toronto Tempo is nearly closing. Nick, is the March 10th date a legitimate drop-dead point for the season, or is the WNBA simply using the looming threat of a delayed season to pressure the players into accepting a lower revenue share percentage?
This is probably the worst. I'm trying to think of the word. What do you call it when you try to purposely force a result?
Are we moving the goalposts?
Well, okay. I wasn't even going to go there, but I can't think of the phrase right now currently.
Force feeding.
Well, yeah, you're trying to force feed a deadline, which, by the way, the reports are that the players are pissed that they got forced to a March 10th deadline.
Oh, there you go.
Well, yeah, obviously, Christy's right. This is desperation because, first of all, the season starts when again? You were telling me May
8th,
and we're putting a March 10th mandate. Here's what I don't understand, and I have to see if I can find the actual report. But when this came out, the players were pissed, and I don't blame them because this is the W trying to say, "Hey, we're forcing a deadline on you guys. If you don't take our deal, we're locking you out." Guess what? Who does that affect more? The owners. Again, I said this to Calvin the other night, and I'll say this again. The players make the owners the money. The owners got to stop acting like just because they pay the salaries, they're the reason that the league is successful. No, you dopies. The players are the reason the league is successful. If Caitlin Clark was not doing what she was doing, there wouldn't be a W probably anymore. I mean, tell me something I don't know here, because look at the aces. Look at the aces too. Asia Wilson? 3 out of the last 5?
What New York has built, what the Sparks had at one point in time in the about 10 years ago.
It's the players. Branding and players make the league, not the owners. The owners pay the bills. That's it. This is what's frustrating me. The owners and Kathy Engelbert are trying to tell you that their deal is the best deal for the players, and if we accept the offer from the WNBPA, we're going to go millions of dollars into debt. Again, how many times are we going to hear this notion or this rhetoric that if we give the players more money, it's going to put the league in debt?
I mean, it's like beating the dead horse over and over. And I think, Nick, I may have said partially on the lounge on Monday, maybe last week here on PR, that everybody here loses. Everyone loses, and it's mainly the players who lose, but more importantly, away from them in their civil war. You know who the biggest loser of this whole entire thing is right now on day 148 of this whole entire, debacle?
The fans.
The fans are the ones who lose, especially, Nick, as I said, I think on Monday. You know who loses more in this whole thing when it comes to fan bases? It's those people in Portland, those people in Toronto, and anybody in the future pipeline right now who's losing right now at this rate.
All right. Put that aside for a second because I do want to talk about that too. But what about the current fans?
And the current fans are losing too.
Because we're supposed to be preparing for a season. We're supposed to be preparing for 2 expansion drafts going on currently. And a lot of people, and it's driving me crazy on social media right now, because some people are saying that, oh, well, they should just go and hold the drafts, and they should just go make the teams. Guys, it doesn't work that way. You have to have a legal CBA intact and signed before you could do any league operations.
As we heard though, Nick, from Natasha Cloud last Wednesday with her very lengthy TikTok rant, though, she basically even said, though, the players are out here signing NDAs because they're not allowed to talk about what's going on with league operations. Though she did say a little bit, like she kind of crept in a line about, crossing that line about talking about what has gone on, though. But when you hear it, though, I think, Nick, firsthand from the players, And T. Cloudnick has been very much, I'd say, one of the biggest vocal leaders of this league for the last 6 seasons. I think more about her, though this might drive people nuts or, knock people off the ledger. She was one of the first people on the front line, though, during the course of BML in 2020 during the bubble season in Bradenton, Florida. She was one of the very first vocal leaders that began to do that. Now it's gone from that now to advocating for the players. Like she said though in that video, this is like year 6, year 7, year 8. I've made my money. I want, the people or players on the roster who are not there yet to get a bigger share of the revenue slice of what they're getting. And I think what, Nick, was more jarring for us on the air that day was when she brought up, though, NDAs. Whenever have you heard a professional sports league or any league in general, Nick, ever say players have to sign NDAs and they can't talk about certain things?
I was shocked when we played that whole thing from Natasha Cloud, and all of a sudden, remember I said to you during the show, it makes sense now why they've been tiptoeing around discussing the numbers, because now we find out that they're under NDA protocols that they can't talk about it. By the way, that is the most shadiest practice I've ever heard in my life. Oh, well, we're going to make the players shut up because we don't want them exposing our league. Hey, Kathy, what a shady practice that the league is doing, shutting up the players, not allowing them to have a voice, to be allowed to say, hey, you guys are stealing our money, stealing our revenue, and we can't talk about it.
Which I think, Nick, goes to I think now that you bring it up, then we bring it up here. That's what was so weird here, day 148. And I say day 148, folks, because we're going back to the opening salvo, the opening shot being fired across the bow. That, of course, was Nafisa Collier, unrivaled founder, WNBA VP, after the injury she suffered in Game 3 against Phoenix, using her exit interview to blast the commissioner's office in a way that Nick and myself, in our combined almost 20 years in this industry, have never seen one player go after another player, a coach, a GM, an owner, let alone the top person on the pedestal of the league front office in the commissioner's office, the way that Fee did. And that's why we're at day 148, because that's kind of where we kind of began tracking this whole thing. But I also think Nick would say, though, that's in a way tying it in, though. Probably since then, there's been a lot of silence on the WNBA home front, and nothing has been totally overblown. So they have, though, made some, press statements. Neko Gumakase made some statements to Alexa Philippou or to the, assembled WNBA and women's basketball media. But nothing further has really, though, Nick, come out since that opening shot got fired, though, back in late September.
Here's the other issue, too. So the players, and I said this to you the other night, the WNBA has made more concessions than the owners and Kathy Engelbert.
Which is to me a little bit shocking that they would keep taking a lot of their demands away when they should be going forward with them.
Well, they're doing what I told you that I think they should do. Both sides are going to have to compromise, and they're going to
meet in the middle somewhere.
Meet in the middle somewhere. But it seems like the WNBA owners, and you know what? I should stop saying owners. It's Kathy Engelbert, because the owners are kowtowing to Kathy Engelbert at this point, because they keep saying, we're not going to budge off that 15% revenue. We're not going to budge off higher salary cap numbers, which, you know what? Let's read the story. I have it right here. So Front Office Sports, by the way, has done an incredible job covering the WNBA situation.
And by the way, we'll have some of the notes, though, scrolling on the bottom line, too, here for a bit.
So now the WNBA is offering a super max. By the way, this term makes me laugh every single time. So the WNBA is offering a super max base salary of roughly $1.13 million. Okay. So we need to explain that to people, because some people are not going to understand what a supermax, because in the NBA, supermax means something differently than it does in the WNBA.
Of course.
In the NBA, a supermax is a supermax contract that you can get. In the the supermax means what you can make yearly at a max. Totally different things.
Way different.
So the $1.13 million, or 20%, of the proposed $5.65 million salary cap in year one. That's what the W is offering its way. But sources have also said that the seven-figure payday for some will come at a cost to others. Which, of course, because we can't do anything. We can't give the players any victory whatsoever when it comes to all the hard work they've put in whatsoever. And it says the salary cap would increase over the length of the deal in line with the league's revenue growth. Now, here's an interesting thing about that.
We heard last night that there's at least $8 million worth of revenue sharing now that the league can do.
Well, it got triggered. The revenue sharing got triggered the other night. And amazingly, after Kathy Engelbert and the owner said, "Oh, well, we're not making a lot of money and blah, 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 blah." Oh, really? Really? You're not making any money, but the $8 million in revenue sharing was triggered. Someone explain that one to me. I'm sorry. Usually when revenue sharing is triggered, that means what?
It's a thing now. You can't escape it.
No, it means there's profit.
And they're turning a profit finally.
You can't have revenue sharing without a profit. That's what people don't realize, what Kathy doesn't realize, what the owners don't realize. That was put in to protect the players to make some money because of their obscenely low salaries that they make. They make more money off the court with endorsements and international playing than they do on the court playing in the W. Okay? That's a problem. So it says the league has not yet reached its line, like you said, in the sand regarding the salary cap. Multiple sources have told Front Office Sports the players have proposed a salary cap of 9.5. See, there we go again. We're completely on two different sides. The owners are at 5.65. The players are at 9.5.
Right.
Have you noticed every little thing that they're arguing over? They're not even close. They can't even get in the middle.
Close. Not even close.
Players met virtually Tuesday evening to discuss steps forward. This meeting followed the WNBA's latest proposal shared Friday and a bargaining session Monday, in which the league said a labor deal must be reached by March 10th. This was a horrible. This is a PR stunt, if I ever saw one.
Trying to save face, and they're doing a shit job of doing it.
I wouldn't even say that's saving face.
No.
I think that was them bullying. If you really want my full 2 cents of it,
I'll take your word for that one. Absolutely.
Because why would you do that? Why would you force a deadline? Because you are only willing to talk on your terms and not theirs.
It's either my way or it's the highway. There's no compromise, no middle ground, no nothing.
Now, here's the problem with that. This group of players is much stronger, no offense, to what I would say 5 to 10 years ago, where they didn't have the same power, same branding power. This group of players is much bigger than 5 to 10 years ago, right?
I would agree.
So in their minds, they, no, we're not playing this game anymore. And on top of that, this stupid PR stunt deadline is going to lead to a strike.
Yeah.
It's going to lead to a strike. But Nick, how do you know? Because you're forcing the players to take something they don't want. Right?
Exactly.
What was your first reaction? Because my first reaction to seeing that deadline was, oh, what a great move. And now we got to laugh at the owners for doing this thing.
Yeah, desperation. I think Christy Wilson said it right. Bowling around the players, saving face. It's like I said, I think too, a while back, Nick, here on PR on the lounge, that, when this whole thing gets resolved, nobody out there better be painting Kathy Engelbert as some damn hero, because it's not how it's going to be working here.
No, this is going to come down to the players who are going to. Here's the thing: the players are never going to get what they want. Let's just admit that right now, okay? The owners are going to bully. Kathy's going to bully. And it's a matter of how much pain is the WNBPA going to be willing to put up with at this point in time. It also says the league's proposal includes 2 tiers of max salary. See, we're complicating this. We are severely complicating this.
Yeah, very much so.
Similar to the current CBA, according to one source, the Supermax would account for 20% of the salary cap, which, by the way, that's a lot.
That is.
That is a lot. And the standard max, roughly $988,750, would take up 17.5%. Unlike the current CBA, players would not be eligible to earn the Supermax salary through a sign and trade deal. See, they're always looking for a way out.
They're looking for loopholes.
It's not a good look by the league. Why do you think the players are running to Unrivaled and Players Unlimited, and now you see Stewie going overseas, which was the whole point, to avoid that situation, and now she's going overseas again.
Yep.
So I feel like the Tasmanian devil's spinning around and like destroying everything. Like, I mean, it gets worse. It says the average salary in the league's proposed CBA is at roughly $470,000, and the minimum with no distinction between the veteran minimum and that for a player with less than 3 years of experience would be just over $200,000. These are the figures without the league's projected revenue. There's those words again. Sharing factored in. All told, sources say players will not receive more than 15% of the league's total revenue in the league's proposal. The league and players union are also aligned on adding 2 developmental players per team who will be paid a stipend, as well as payment per game. The league also proposed a 7th guaranteed contract per team, up from the current 6. Okay, but that doesn't fix the problem.
Nope.
The players want more revenue, and you're not willing to budge on more than 15%?
No.
You realize every other professional league is close to splits?
Yeah.
But the WNBA owners, no, get out. You're spoiling me moments. Like, they're all being Mr. Krabs. They're penny pinching cheapskates. I don't get this.
And they got 13 days to figure this crap out before we have the lockout special.
My mind is just blown because it says under the current CBA, WNBA teams can roster no more than 12 players and no fewer than 11. However, due to injuries and other extenuating circumstances, many teams drop below 11 for brief periods. Others, like the Las Vegas Aces, finished the 2025 season with 11 to stay under the $1.5 million salary cap, which, by the way, that's not a lot of money to work with.
None at all.
The WNBPA has proposed that the teams be required to carry 12 at all times. Okay, so they each get an extra player. But that's still not solving the problem. Still. I don't know how we fix this. In 2025, the Supermax accounted for roughly 16.5% of the salary cap, and 4-time WNBA MVP Asia Wilson made less than that. See, why do you think the Stars are upset?
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark's not making what she should be making. Asia Wilson's not making what she should be making.
Hell no. None of them are.
You know it's bad when these players are making more money on endorsements and international play than what their current job is supposed to be.
Hate to say it, Nick, but look at Angel Reese.
Don't even get me started with Angel Reese.
But it goes to your point, though, sadly, in a very true way, though.
Well, yeah, you're talking about because she does all that stuff on the side. So let me preface that with one thing. I understand why she's doing all that stuff. But at the same time, she wouldn't have to do all that stuff if it wasn't for the way the W was operating.
Correct.
Because it's still bad. Because she cares more about the off-court stuff than she does playing the game, which is what players should be. I'm not saying that these athletes should not have side projects or things that they do on the side. But now I could say that the league is broken because they just don't want to pay their players.
And they got 13 days to figure it out. Otherwise, we're going to be hopefully having that damn 7-hour special, as Tom was said on PR last Wednesday, or on the lounge on Monday too.
When that special hits, it's going to get ugly because we're literally going to break down every little piece of the timeline. Because when did we start doing this? Like
Back
How
in
long
September.
was it during the end, towards the end of the season while we were still talking about it?
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't get it. I don't understand. Just first of all, and I knew this was bad when Kathy Engelbert is not a commissioner. Like, just not. She's not even. She's not a lawyer like Adam Silver or Roger Goodell or Rob Manfred were. Kathy was a business owner of, was it Dilotti?
Yes.
I don't even know what Dilotti is. I just remember. Do we even know what Dilotti is?
Professional Services Network.
Oh, really? Professional Services Network, huh? Really?
Emotional damage.
She runs a professional services network, but she can't be a professional on her own accord. I see how it goes. But if they're not going to budge off that 15% for the revenue, you might as well just say we're going on a strike.
Oh, okay.
On strike. We're going on strike. I still don't know what strike means, but we're going on a strike.
That last part, I don't know what strike means, but I'm going on a strike. That's Kathy Engelbert. You're like,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, why are the players going on a strike? What does that mean?
No, or she's going to be like, no, it's going to be exactly the way that was said. We're going on a strike. I don't know what that means, but we'll just allow the players to go on strike anyway. That's how the players feel right now. Like they're being bankrupt of potential money that they could be making.
Cannot agree more. All right, Nick, we'll move on from one thing with women's sports to another thing with women's sports on ESPN. In a historic shift, ESPN has ended their 35-year run of carrying Sunday Night Baseball to replace it with what they're calling Women's Sports Sundays. Beginning this summer, the primetime window on ESPN will be headlined by WNBA basketball, if there's a season, and also high-octane NWSL soccer action. The move follows ESPN and MLB's mutual agreement to opt out of their previous right package 3 years earlier than expected in favor of a new midweek heavy package on the worldwide leader. Nick, by moving both the W and the NWSL to the most prestigious time slot in sports media for Sunday nights, is ESPN making a calculated bet on the growth of these leagues or simply filling a void left by a fractured relationship with Major League Baseball that saw the deal again go up in flames 3 years before it was supposed to run out?
Okay, so what people need to understand here, people think that this was abrupt. This was not abrupt.
We saw this coming from a mile away when ESPN and MLB broke off the relationship.
So I just want people to understand, this is not the 11th hour where they removed baseball from, that they removed Sunday Night Baseball, okay? They opted out originally because Major League Baseball felt like they were being overcharged for what they were getting. They had Sunday Night Baseball, and I think they had Wednesday games, and then some Monday games. But,
yeah.
But they just were not getting enough bang for their buck for what they were paying. So they just said, okay. And then Rob Manfred pissed off ESPN, too, which that's par for the course. Rob Manfred pissing off people.
Nice shooting, soldier.
But here's the thing. When you decide, okay, we don't have a product to put there. We got to put something else there. We can't just leave it blank. So they decided, okay, we're going to put Women's Sports Sunday. Now, we already know why some people are offensive to it.
Yeah, how am I not surprised?
But here's the problem, okay? So I have no problem with them putting the product there. It's a tough slot. And what other people are not taking into account is, oh my God, you're removing Sunday Night Baseball. We don't have a prominent product. Here's the problem. It's not going to matter. You're up against Sunday Night Football for NBC.
Once that time of the year rolls around, yes.
So you're going to get screwed. You're going to be screwed anyway.
It's in a way, with that sense, it's a lose-lose situation.
So at least from my thought process, it sounds like they're saying, okay, we're not going to go out. We're not going to go and compete against Sunday Night Football because we're just not going to win. So let's try and put something uniquely different to give us a chance in a different category, in a different market. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
And I understand ESPN had Sunday Night Baseball for 35 years. I get it. People are creatures of habit. We're all creatures of habit. We all watch things in certain spots.
Of course.
But what's that saying? All good things come to an end eventually. Yep. I actually think that was the right move by ESPN. Because
especially with where things are at with their own CBA stuff with baseball right now.
So I think ESPN was getting gypped big time, money-wise. Oh, but Nick, Disney money and blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. The product was awful. Major League Baseball ratings are declining. Okay? So the value of what they're spending is not adding up to the ratings that they need to get. Okay? And also, do you really want a product where the Dodgers are going to dominate nonstop for the entire season, where nobody else is going to be worth watching? And especially, they probably got out at the right time, considering there's going to be a lockout.
Too. That went to my point too. Yes.
So I also found it interesting, by the way, that when the story broke for Women's Sports Sundays, do you know what platform it broke on? Because I have the story up in front of me.
Now, where?
Variety. They didn't break it on a sports platform.
Variety magazine.
So I think they did that on purpose, knowing that they're trying to reach different demographics.
For sure.
But I don't know what you're going to do. But people are butthurt over the fact that Major League Baseball left ESPN because, oh, well, it was going to be at ESPN forever. No, it wasn't.
Or are they more butthurt, Nick, at the fact that it's women's sports invading their Sunday nights now all of a sudden when they could have given two shits about Sunday Night Baseball for the past 35 years?
I mean, believe it or not, some of those women games might be more entertaining to watch than some of the baseball will be.
Yeah,
I mean,
think so.
The issue you're going to run into, though, is unless it's like a Caitlin Clark game or a Trinity Rodman game for NWSL, for the beginning duration of it, it's going to be rough.
And I think that's with any new thing you try, that it's going to be rocky the first, we talked to David Sampson about that, Nick, a few weeks ago here on PR, that there were, unrivaled ratings that kind of, nosedove a little bit, though, in the beginning of season 2. And David even said, you've got to write out the ship because this happens all the time. As I even mentioned, though, Nick, too, comparing three new teams who've come to San Diego. One of them, two of them being soccer franchises. One, of course, in MLS with SDFC, and the other one being the Wave, where I said, the Wave played at my university for the good part of their first season, moved to Snapdragon Stadium, sold out their first, 4 home games of, 35,000 people. Then gradually, though, when things were going wrong, the Jill Ellis debacle, of course, happened. People began to not come to games. I still go to games because they're cheap, they're affordable. It's a nice night out over the weekend. You go and meet the players. They're really down-to-earth individuals. SDFC, it's hard to gauge right now because they've just kept winning so far. They won, a tournament game back in earlier this month. They won their home opener over Montreal 5-0. It wasn't a sellout, but there was still like 30,000 people, 29,000 and change, and obviously where I stand, I don't sit, I stand, and you can hear the thunderclap radiating through the stadium, and you got the whole stadium in the palm of your hand doing the clap along the way. Dominic Mysterio walks by because he was, the big celebrity on hand. I'll have more about that on Substack and on Benchmarks, or on Small Market Edition sometime soon. That the shine has not wore off with them yet, but I have seen it, though, go away from the Seals or from, the Wave for a bit, though. And Nick, and I think I think I'll be watching the Wave a bit more closely because of the mass exodus of players who've left San Diego because of front office issues, time up, though, with the organization. But your point, though, is so right, though, that unless you have Caitlin Clark play every other Sunday on ESPN, or you have Trinity Rodman play every other Sunday, or the Kansas City Current play every other Sunday, early on, it might be rough, but I think as it goes on, though, now I would say it gets better before you get to September when the NFL does roll around. I think over the summer when you don't have a lot of competition because baseball's now on NBC or Peacock, that can be your window to really try to get this boulder pushed up the hill, and make progress. But until you hit September, you've got a very small window, to make this work, though, if you ask me.
And like I said, during the NFL season, forget it. Like Sundays are going to be, everyone's going to be watching the NFL on Sunday. I mean, you're not going to be able to, even if you gain 1 or 2% of that audience, it's not going to be enough to turn it around. But it's just funny reading the story and how people are overreacting. They're talking about because of Unrivaled, it led to this type of situation for Women's Sports Sunday. I mean, I think people are just offended that it's women's sports. I think that's part of
You just literally took the words out of my mouth.
And it's funny though because Rosalind Durant, who's ESPN's executive vice president, came out and said Women's Sports Sunday isn't an experiment. It is a flag in the ground and a continuing commitment. I don't know if I'd go that far yet. This is the first time I've ever seen ESPN stick their flag in the sand and say we're going to do a women's sports window. Now, here's the one issue, and I think I brought this up to you a few weeks ago when the news of this came out. You're kind of putting yourself in a box by calling it Women's Sports Sunday. Because what happens if you don't have a women's sports game to put on?
Well, why do I think, though, that they're calling it that and then it's only for like a few hours of the day? Obviously, it's been branded that way, though, with Women's Sports Sunday. But what does that look like, though? Does that look like a NWSL early morning game on the West Coast at 9 a.m. with like Orlando playing KC, for example? Is that a 12 o'clock Liberty Aces game if there's a season? Is that a 3 o'clock Pacific time, 5 o'clock Pacific time San Diego versus Angel City matchup? Is that a Seattle Reign versus, Portland Thorns game at 8 o'clock? I don't know.
They have a list here. So it says ESPN also has an 8-year pact with the NCAA for many women's sports, including basketball, and also
softball.
has the rights to the Little League Softball World Series and Athletes Unlimited Softball League.
And I would also think, Nick, too, that could be used, though, too, during the softball tournament for the College World Series.
Probably, but I'm not sure how that.
ESPN still has the rights to both the baseball and softball World Series.
Right. Yes, but I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it, but I think people are just looking at it and they're looking at the title and they're saying, Women's Sports Sunday. Oh my God. What? How'd this get on my television screen?
Fine with me. I'll go to the new women's sports bar here in North Park and go watch all the women's sports I want. Come fight me.
No, it's totally fine. I have no issue with it. I think people just look at it and say, wait, an exclusive window for women's sports? What? What's going on here?
I hate to say it, people, but it's long overdue.
What?
Pataki, it's long overdue.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm all for it. I think people are just upset because people look at Sunday and they say football, basketball, college football, college basketball. They don't think of it as a women's sports day.
I mean, I think that they can make that thing work very, very well, though, as time goes on. All right, Nick, to the NBA, though, and another owner sounds off on tanking. Your boy, Mat Ishbia, owner of both the Suns and Mercury, did not hold back his thoughts on Twitter this week, calling tanking in the NBA losing behavior done by losers. Ishbia further argued that purposely losing is embarrassing for the league and should never be viewed as a viable strategy forward. His comments come as several teams are reportedly already racing for the bottom for next year's draft class. Nick, does Mat Ishbia's blunt criticism put more pressure on Adam Silver to actually pull the trigger on his new idea for a rookie free agency idea to end tanking once and for all for teams in the association?
We're going to have an argument about this whole thing because we talked about Cuban and we talked about how he said, I've tanked before and I paid the fine and all this nonsense. And now Ishbia, who's not soft-spoken, by any means.
That's putting it lightly.
Saying it's losing behavior. Come on, dude. Look at what you're doing with your franchise. You have no right to call out Cuban. Cuban's won a title. Cuban has changed the way the modern landscape for the NBA is handled. He's the one willing to spend money to make your franchise. At least he's not the asshole who paid to put his own company as the lead sponsor on his own arena.
Mortgage Matchup Center. I still laugh at it.
It's your own company, dude. Come on, man. You're going to tell me you're going to call him out for tanking and being fake when you're a fake piece of shit because you decided to pay to put your own company as the leading sponsor? Help me here, because I'm not getting the logic that he's putting out.
I mean, of all the things that the NBA could be focusing on, Nick, as we've said on here, I told Mr. DiMartino on MTGP last Thursday, of all the big issues that the NBA has faced this season, from gambling in October to now the tanking issues, the fact that there has been former NBA minor league players go back to college to play in college basketball, on top of another sham and bogus all-star game format this year that nobody watched.
Good Lord. Oh, it's bad.
I mean, the NBA has so many other issues. Why are we complaining about teams who, as I pointed out bluntly last Thursday to DiMartino, and the first time I really got to work with him on a program, we already know who the offenders are in a way of the tanking issues. But again, Nick, it went to my point, though. Do you notice the trend, though, about who always is in the bottom of the barrel?
Well, all the shit teams. All the shit teams.
Sacramento, Utah, Washington are the main three. I said that the Bullets and Wizards have not been well run since they won the title in '78. The Jazz are trying to make strides, though, because I think they have the right owner now in Ryan Smith. The Kings broke like a 16-year playoff drought and then canned Mike Brown because De'Aaron Fox and weren't getting along. They shipped his ass to San Antonio. Now he's actually thriving with the Spurs. But there's always going to be those teams in every sport that you watch.
The Cleveland Browns.
Like the Browns, the Pirates, the Rockies, Montreal.
The Sacramento A's.
Yeah, the Oaklamento Athletics of Las Vegas. Club de Foot Montreal and MLS. You're going to have all these clubs, Nick, who are either cheaply run. They're always going to be at the bottom of the barrel. But the NBA, though, Nick, in some way, I think it's only magnified in the NBA so much because, to my other point, though, I brought up about Sam Hinkie and the trust the process 76ers. I think they won, less than 15 games over 4 consecutive seasons. They were teetering on setting their own record for futility. I think one year they went 8-70 or 7-70 something, I want to say, back in the day.
And now it's worse because Paul George got suspended for PEDs. So that team's a nightmare. But
I think Mat Ishbia is the last owner who should be opening his mouth, though, in this way, because he's got his own things to worry about with both of his organizations right now. He shouldn't be worrying about what the Jazz are doing, what Sacramento's doing. How about that?
Or how about worrying about what Mark Cuban's doing, considering he's been one of the more successful owners in professional sports? I mean,
exactly.
Come on, man. Your franchise, the Suns, is a joke. You had Kevin Durant. You screwed that one up really bad.
And right now, if they made the playoffs, they'd be playing the Spurs in round 1. Good luck with that.
They would get wamboozled out of the first round, but
good luck with that.
And by the way, you have one of the better young players in Devin Booker. And if I'm Devin Booker, I'm hauling my ass out of Phoenix and going somewhere where I actually could play. Detroit would be a great spot, actually, now. Imagine that.
Brooklyn.
No, I wish. But this Ishbia nonsense where he's claiming losing behavior is done by losers. How ironic, considering your team hasn't won shit. How about that?
Exactly.
You guys have never won an NBA title. You're calling on an owner that's won an NBA title and has been to the NBA Finals multiple times.
Yeah, and you got there once and you lost to Milwaukee in 6.
So I don't want to hear shit from Mat Ishbia saying losing behavior is done by losers. But I understand from a different standpoint. We have an issue with tanking. Okay? We have an issue with tanking. We have an issue that owners, we talked about this last week,
Yes.
that the owners are willing, the anonymous source that came out to Bobby Marks at ESPN saying that, oh, I'm willing to pay the fine if it allows me to draft the next big star out of college basketball. And then you have the nonsense from Beaker over running the NBA, Adam Silver. Who basically wants to put in a foolproof tanking policy. And I forgot, I don't know if they announced like what he wanted to do.
But also, Nick, the other thing, though, that me and D-Mart brought up, and I think you and I brought up, though, too, last Wednesday, how in the world, though, do we even classify tanking? There's no like proper definition in the Webster Dictionary or in the thesaurus about what tanking actually is for basketball.
I guess the best feasible definition I could give to tanking is losing games on purpose to be the worst team in the NBA. That's what tanking in a very generic sense means. Because if I just lose and lose and lose and lose and lose, I'm the worst team in the NBA. I get the number 1 overall draft pick, which is the biggest star coming out of college basketball, and I can rebuild my franchise all over again. Look what happened with Cooper Kupp. Now,
Flag.
what bothers me
Cooper Flag
and frustrates me is the situation of they really shouldn't have been the number 1 overall team.
Yeah, they had like, what, a 0.6% chance to win the lottery?
That's more of the issue I have than the full tanking itself. If you're the worst team, first of all, I've always believed that there shouldn't be a lottery system where they pick lottery balls.
So you'd rather have it be like the NFL, for example?
Yes. If you're the worst team in the NBA, you get the number 1 overall pick. That's it. I don't need drama. The lottery system is in to make drama, okay? Because it's great for TV. It's great for digital platforms.
And baseball now has tried to do that with their own draft lottery system and their own rules in place about you can't be worst team like 3-4 consecutive years or something like that.
Okay, but no one gives a shit about the MLB draft. Sorry, that's just my opinion of it. Most people.
Well, I would agree because it takes way too long usually for those players to get drafted and make it to the pros.
Well, that and Major League Baseball teams are not rebuilt on the draft, really.
They're rebuilt via free agency.
Exactly my point. Let's see. I want that too for the NBA draft. Worst team in the league gets it. Yeah, exactly, Christy. So I'm trying to think who the worst teams in the NFL are right now. For example, the Browns, the
Jets,
the Browns, the Jets, the Titans,
Giants,
Tennessee. Like those teams should be whatever the order is. Whoever has the worst record should be number 1 overall. Same thing for the NBA. The lottery balls just bring drama. There's no logical sense to, well, they're the worst team, so they have a 14% chance, and then it drops by like 2.5% every time down into the top 14. So I'm reading the story that Shams wrote, which is what Adam Silver is proposing, and he wants to put it in next season, which is kind of a bold move, if you ask me. But it says here, first-round draft picks can be protected only for the top 4 or top 14-plus selections. Lottery odds freeze at the trade deadline or a later date. No longer allowing a team to pick in the top 4 in consecutive years and or consecutive bottom 3 finishes. Okay, you can't control that.
No.
What if your team is just that bad?
Like the Wizards.
Like the Wizards.
The Nets.
Like the Pistons were for years.
Philadelphia.
I mean, it goes on and on and on. You have such a... I mean, I'll pull this up just so we can have an example, just so I can look at the standings. But the Nets, who've been terrible. Let's take a look in the West. The Pelicans. The Kings. The Jazz. Which, by the way, The Jazz, I give Danny Ainge a lot of credit because he stockpiled all those picks. But he's the reason why that rule is going to get affected because.
So right now, the bottom feeders or the teams at the bottom, Sacramento, Indiana, Brooklyn, Washington, New Orleans, Utah. They all have fewer than 20 wins.
I mean, you can even throw the Mavericks in there if you want, but
Dallas is at 21. Memphis is at 21.
So there's no concrete exact way to fix tanking. There just is not. But to put in all these ridiculous rules to say that you can't be in the top 4 consecutive years, or after a consecutive bottom 3 years, you can't be in the top of the draft. What happens if you're just that bad of a team?
Yeah. And we're heading towards another year, though, Nick, too, where it looks like we're going to have teams with below 500 records make the damn play-in tournament again.
Well, that's a whole different issue. But
right now, that'd be Atlanta, Charlotte, Portland, and the Clippers, barring the aspiration hammer being dropped eventually.
This also says lottery odds allocated based on 2-year records, not 1. So
Okay.
what happens if you have a good year and a bad year? Back-to-back years.
Do they flatten out, maybe?
I have no idea. And it says lottery extended to include all play-in teams.
Yeah, that's not right.
Adam, what are you doing? So now you're going to add more teams to the mix so that the top 4 or 5 teams can't win the lottery?
Yeah, that right there is a recipe for disaster, because if you give a team in the play-in tournament, like they make the playoffs, though they probably don't go far because of the play-in, how the play-in tournament works, which is so convoluted too as well in its own right. That right there, I agree that Adam Silver's lost his mind. He's become a damn deranged maniac.
And then the last one. Flatten odds for all lottery teams. What? You have 2 options here. Okay? Either the odds all have to be different with the worst record having the best
worst
odds.
record has to have a higher percentage of winning the lottery.
Right. Or you just do it by record and call it a day. You just call it a day. That's what I think you should do.
I would probably say the top 3 or top 4 teams with the worst records, I think it's like a de-escalator of odds. Like I'd say 25% for the worst overall record, 15% for the second, 10, then 5 maybe, 1 through 4, 1 through 5.
But why even give them percentages? The worst team is the worst team. They should get the number 1 overall pick. This is such a stupid discussion that we're having over tanking.
And I think a lot of it, though, is just being triggered now by, can we maybe say that, from All-Star Weekend being a flop? Is it this? Is it that? Or is it just, to my point again from last Thursday, or just because a lot of the teams who are in the bottom or at the bottom of the barrel are just poorly run organizations?
Well, or they are taking tanking to a new level. It's one or the other. But the Jazz getting fined $500,000, winning the game against the Miami Heat, like I said last week.
And the Pacers got dinged $100,000.
And the Pacers getting fined $100,000.
And again, let me say that again real quick. The Pacers are the outlier here, Nick, when it comes to their record, because they don't have Halliburton. They lost Miles Turner. There's no way that I can see that team going from NBA Finals runners-up to all of a sudden being a tanking organization.
No, sometimes you go from being a really good team to just having unfortunate breaks, not going your way. And that just happens from time to time. And there's just no way to predict it.
Right.
That's part of the problem with this tanking situation, that he's trying to put rules in like tanking is an exact science. It's not. It's just because you're tanking doesn't mean you're going to be the worst team in the NBA either. There are teams that just are so bad.
Charlotte for a long time, the Wizards, as I've long said, Sacramento, the Nets.
Yeah,
post that one flash in the pan year in 21.
Right. I mean, why do you think that if your team is not good enough, you don't have a star, you see a team tanking? Because they need to go back into the draft and rebuild to figure out what they're doing. By the way,
Uh-oh.
it has to do with the NBA, actually.
Oh, great.
James Harden sustained a right thumb fracture in Tuesday's game against the Knicks.
Ow.
He will undergo further evaluations for treatment and is listed as questionable tonight versus the Bucks.
Right thumb. Well, he's a left-hand shooter, so I wonder if they might be able to somehow tape that thing up to high hell and hope that he can somehow still play.
Story is a liar.
I mean,
Sorry.
I have a bandage on my left thumb because my dog chose to rip part of my flesh off playing chase this morning.
Ow. But apparently he's been decent so far since they've traded him there. By the way, the Knicks are in a little bit of trouble right now.
Yeah, just a little bit of trouble.
They can't beat the Pistons. Cavs look really good, actually, believe it or not, with James Harden and Mitchell, and looks like a really good team, right?
I mean, Detroit's got a 4.5 game lead over the Celtics right now for the number 1 seed in the East. I mean, that's a dangerous top 5 right now, though, in the East. Detroit, Boston, New York, Cleveland, and even the Raptors, who are 10 games over 500. The Raptors.
I mean,
Toronto.
They're not a bad team. But yeah, the Pistons are the best team. I think that I was thinking about this the other day. You might see Pistons Spurs as an NBA Finals this year.
That or what if it was Detroit, Oklahoma City?
Mr. Small Market.
Not even for that reason at all. Just the two best teams right now in the standings.
I'm kidding. But yes.
I mean, OKC, the 45 wins already? Damn.
And they've kind of stumbled a little bit too.
They stumbled a bit, but you mean what team, what
Well, Shai's out. Shai's
yeah,
out.
Shai being out doesn't help the cause, sadly, as well.
Because if Shai is playing, like, they probably have 50+ wins right now. But Pistons Spurs would be fun this year.
That would be.
Come on, Mr. Small Market. We need this.
Yes, we do. Nick, how about we get to our weekly update for the night before we get back to hour 2?
All right. What do we have coming up this week? Well, ETV Sports drops today. The audio version already dropped at midnight early this morning. So if you want the audio version, go check it out. Episode 306 in the book. We get into a lot of different topics. Trying to remember off the top of my head. I have the folder here just so I can.
Sean Strickland winning at UFC. The Olympic Games just ending with USA Hockey winning gold in both men's and women's hockey.
Yeah, Rousey versus Carano via Most Valuable Promotions. Ryan Garcia beats Mario Barrios. I don't like Garcia at all. I don't like Strickland at all. I basically wish that someone would punch Sean Strickland in the face. And then, yeah, it's a good episode. Go check that out. Christy already on the trail for BTR on Saturday. What else do we have coming up? What other shows?
Tommy is back for MTGP on Thursday.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
Yes. And then we have Outsiders on Thursday. I think that's a normal fight night card because the next number card is March 7th. I think that's UFC 326.
Next Saturday.
They'll probably get more in depth into Rousey Carano because now it was announced that that they had to go through mental health and concussion protocol evaluations to see if the fight is actually going to happen.
Nick, you were right, by the way. It's going to be Holloway Oliveira 2 from T-Mobile in Vegas on the 7th of March.
Yeah. So that's UFC 326. So, and we will have our numbered card post show after that. Tom Albano will be on that. And I heard Zan might be joining that one too. So You'll get to see the card, and then you'll get a post show from MMA Outsiders Faithful. After that, obviously, Bando's breakdowns on Friday. From at least from what I understood, a lot of big topics. The UFC White House card
Got moved up again, it looks like.
No, that was false. That was a fake report. It's still going to be on.
June 14th.
I think it was June 14th. Yeah. He also gets into the Olympics. Also, Big Ten men's basketball. So don't miss that on Friday. Let's see. What else do we have? And then obviously our Saturday lineup, which I still got to figure out because I don't know if I think Trevor was traveling.
Trevor is actually in my backyard in San Diego this week.
He said it depended on time because that's early. That would be early in your neck of the woods, doing a 10 a.m. Eastern time.
We are hoping to get to the SDFC St. Louis match on Sunday night, too, after I get off work. We're trying to pull some strings.
Are you, huh? But, yeah. And then obviously, like Christy said, BTR will be on. Who knows if the lounge will be on Saturday or Sunday. I don't hold my breath. What? And then as we continue to work through some of our behind the scenes stuff, we're getting closer to our San Diego Elite Draft League streams. That's just a matter of when, not if, at this point, because that season starts in May.
Yep.
So we're working through that. We're also going to have a pop-up FIFA World Cup show
starting in June.
Empty the Pitch, which was a great game. You just finished Olympics from the bench, by the way, which we finally got everything working, so the numbers were working properly.
It finally happened last night. It was great.
So a lot going on, a lot of different things happening. There's probably going to be a March Madness reveal special. I think that's on March 17th, I think.
15th.
Oh, 15th. Sorry. 15th. It's on a Sunday, Selection Sunday, which
Selection Sunday.
Which, by the way, stupidly, they did it at 6 and 8 o'clock right after.
And by the way, we are going to be in the process of probably having a March Madness bracket group on ESPN.com. That just came to my head. I've done it every year.
Yeah, we could do that.
Play against the hosts.
Yeah, we could do that. That's for sure. Zan would like that. But yeah, a lot coming up, and then obviously we have March Madness coming up as well. So you're going to see a lot of
yes.
A lot of that programming. Maybe we'll do some live watch along, depending if we have some time. But too bad we can't do it anymore for real. Anyway. But if you like everything we're discussing, follow our social medias at ETB Network. Join the cause. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and help us get to those watch hours so we can really put some more money into things here so we can grow it further. So.
All right, Nick, we'll get to hour 2 now here. NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport admitted his future is currently uncertain as the network prepares to merge into the ESPN Disney umbrella. Coming up in April, Ian's contract does run out in May. And with Adam Schefter already serving as their lead insider at ESPN, the Avengers-style pairing of the two rivals remains a rumor rather than reality. Nick, if the network chooses to stick with Adam Schefter exclusively, does Ian Rappaport now become the most valuable free agent in sports media? And where is a logical landing spot, Amazon, Netflix, or a return back to digital only?
Well, he's already part of Thursday Night Football on Amazon. He took that spot over from, who was it, Albert Breer? I think he took it over from. So he's already on Amazon, so he doesn't have to worry about that. But that's only one digital exclusive window during the football season. It's going to be ESPN. But I'm just going to call a spade now. He's not going to go to Netflix because that's not a full sports company, even though they're trying to claim a Netflix type thing with L. Duncan and all that nonsense we talked about. That's never going to turn into anything. It's just not. even though they're paying her a shitload of money to be over there. I'm trying to think what other platforms. ESPN is really the only one now that ESPN's going to own NFL Network.
Right.
So think about that amazing trio of insiders, or more than trio. I mean, so you're going to have Schefter, Rappaport, Pelissero. Like, just think about that in general, and all the NFL insiders going to be under the ESPN umbrella. You thought the NFL was going to be annoying on ESPN. It's now going to be even more annoying. Just saying.
I mean, and I'm glad though that the question came out as Avengers style, because Nick, in a way, this feels like we're watching Thanos collect all the Infinity Stones across the Avengers films and across the MCU. Now that you've got Schefter already as your main guy, now you're reeling Rappaport. You've got Pelissero. You've got all these other people. In a way, Nick, this, and I'm going to say it though, it might feel like a monopoly though that ESPN takes all the best NFL insiders though. But I mean, they're paying the money, for God's sakes, to take over the network. Why not just absorb the talent that's already there? If you know what I mean.
Right. I mean, it's just going to make them even more powerhouse. Like, ESPN's going to become the exclusive for the most part for everything NFL. By the way, more international games announced.
Oh,
the Jaguars will play 2 2026 home games in London, while Everbank Stadium undergoes a $1.4 billion renovation.
Wow.
The moves were intentional and allow the team to skip a future league-operated international game.
Oh, okay. So kind of getting ahead of the curve.
So I guess due to the renovation, and the NFL wins, let's just admit it, because they wanted a game in London. Wait a minute, so they're going to play back-to-back games in London. Ooh.
Yeah, they got a whole week to play in London, or stay in London, I should say.
Yeah, but that's brutal for teams that have to travel back and forth when they're already there.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. I think he's going to stay at ESPN/NFL Network.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I don't really see what other caveat would, okay, maybe the Prime Video thing's one thing, but again, it's only a week-to-week basis. ESPN would be a daily thing where, again, NFL content is on 24/7 on the worldwide leader.
Well, it'll never be fully 24/7, but let's just say now that they took over NFL Network and they have all of those assets, like, it's going to become uber annoying. At one point, you're going to see a shitload of NFL content now.
Oh, yeah.
Across the ESPN family of networks.
ESPN, ESPN2, all the college stations get overrun by NFL content, ESPN Plus, Disney Plus, Hulu.
And now all the digital platforms like YouTube. And it's going to get really annoying. Just be aware.
Oh, yeah. I'm already mentally preparing for when that happens. Trust me.
Well, what? We're going to get 5 hours of NFL Live instead of 1.
Oh, jeez. That's fine. I got Emily Network and NHL Network to go and put it on out there in the living room instead of that. But, I mean, I think, though, it would make the most sense for ESPN if they want to fully crush the competition. I am inevitable, snap the fingers, and wipe out half the universe. To take Rappaport and just build their murderers row further for NFL content.
Well, they would own the contracts anyway. I think his contract is not up until a month into the move, which I don't know if that was done purposely or not. I think that was just the timing of everything. But I don't know. This is an interesting development of Ian Rappaport could go anywhere. Anyone would take him. Any sports network would take him and do amazing things. But speaking of awkward moments in the TV digital space, massive layoffs are underway at FanDuel Sports Network. Gee, where have we heard that one before? As the Atlanta area offices are set to permanently close, This follows the Atlanta Braves' decision to terminate their rights agreement earlier this month. And actually, when we're done with this, I'll update you on what they're doing currently. While parent company Main Street Sports Group claims it will continue broadcasting NBA and NHL games for now, the closure of the Colony Square worksite signals the beginning of the end for the current RSN model. It's already been over.
Oh, yeah.
With the Atlanta hub, one of the busiest in the country, shutting down, are we days away from a total blackout for Hawks and United fans if a new distributor isn't found immediately?
Well, first of all, Atlanta United wouldn't be affected because they're on Apple TV Plus for MLS.
Ew.
It's more about the Hawks and Braves who are going to be the ones shut out here, not ATL United.
True. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, if they're really going to hang their hat, Nick, on the NBA and the NHL to stay afloat for the next 3 months, because I think that there was a story I think the new loophole or ruling in the national package now for media deals for the NBA, no more local broadcast of the first round of the NBA playoffs.
That's so stupid. I mean, technically the playoffs should be national because it's a national audience that's watching the playoffs. I didn't understand at first why the NHL was doing local through the first round, but I get it because I guess the first round technically should belong to the fans.
Yes.
But eventually that's going to disappear. I think it's going to disappear, and the playoffs should be a national-wide audience. That's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Now, the interesting news coinciding with this is the Atlanta Braves, because the Atlanta Braves announced that they're launching their own team-run television network,
Braves
called
Vision.
Braves Vision, which will be the primary local TV home for more than 140 games, starting with the 2026 season. The network gives the Braves full control of production and distribution. That's expensive, by the way.
And I wonder, though, Nick, how this is going to work out. Now, I think that they'll probably go the route I would probably say, like, as I've long been believing when this has been happening here across baseball, is there would have to be not concessions made, but you've got to make deals with the local ABC, NBC, Fox, or CBS stations to put the games on cable or on regular television.
Well, I just found a story on it. So Braves launching their own network, 140 games. The Braves will oversee the production, sales, marketing, and distribution of the telecasts of more than 140 games. Braves chose to control the Braves Vision plan instead of having the telecast produced by Major League Baseball. So they're literally sinking their teeth into production.
Yes.
Obviously, we talked about this other part of it. February 2nd, the Reds, Royals, Marlins, Brewers, Cardinals, Rays announced their local television broadcast will be produced by Major League Baseball. Those 6 teams, as well as the Braves, Tigers, Angels, terminated their deals after the Main Street Sports Group had all their issues. MLB will produce broadcasts for 14 teams this season. What? MLB is also distributing Braves and Angels direct to consumers on Braves.tv and Angels.tv.
No.
The Braves said, wait, here's the answer to your question, though. The Braves said they are finalizing deals to partner with cable, satellite, and streaming services. The Braves Vision telecast will be available on MLB's streaming platform.
So it appears, Nick, that they have apparently struck a deal. Just trying to see where exactly that it lies here.
Well, it says the Braves said a select number of games will be available without charge on Gray Media's network of TV stations in Atlanta and across the Southeast. Teams said those games will be announced before the season. Gray Media is also carrying 15 Braves spring training games,
which is on WPCH, which is Peachtree TV, Atlanta's CW station, Channel 17 and Channel 31.
Yeah, because legally they have to have a local consolidation carrying it.
And the Padres have that with KFMB TV, CBS 8, and the CW6 here locally in town.
I'm surprised this hasn't been done sooner by more teams.
I agree, and I wonder, though, Nick, how much longer until I think every team, even those like the Yanks and the Mets and the Dodgers, may have to begin looking at that way too, though.
Well, wait a minute. The Yankees own their own network. They produce and self-distribute the YES network. That's their own network. SNY is owned by the Mets. The Dodgers, I don't think they own their network. I doubt it.
They might. I don't think. I think they have a small stake. Let me go double check.
Let's find out. Oh, they do. The Dodgers partially own their regional sports network,
50%.
Spectrum Sports LA.
50%.
Right. It says in a joint venture with Charter Communications.
Spectrum.
So I didn't know that. I thought they just had a huge deal with Spectrum. Which, by the way, that deal in 2014, 25-year deal at $8.35 billion.
Yep.
Remember when people scoffed at that? Now that looks cheap now, doesn't it?
It does.
Which is crazy. It says the deal is valued at an average $334 million annually. That's more than some teams' payroll.
It is.
And it says as of September 2025, a dedicated streaming service, SNLA Plus, is available through MLB.com for $29.99 a month.
Yep.
That's interesting. And then due to a 2013 bankruptcy court settlement, the Dodgers have a special long-term exemption that allows them to keep more of their local TV money compared to other teams. Oh, right. I forgot because Frank McCourt was a dumbass and went bankrupt. The Dodgers don't have to share their money because you know what Frank McCourt is?
I'm a dumbass.
So the Dodgers have lucked out in every way, shape, or form. They went bankrupt. This is going to sound stupid. They went bankrupt at the proper time.
They did.
They didn't have to share their revenue, and now they're benefiting and spending like drunken sailors on a Saturday night at a soccer game. I mean, like,
Hey, now. No, I'm kidding.
I'm just saying. But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, this was bound to happen at some point. FanDuel
Yeah, I mean, the fact that MLB's got 14 of the 30 teams now underneath their umbrella now, and again, this all began, Nick, this has played out in real time for the last 3 Major League Baseball seasons that we've seen this happen.
Well, it started with Diamond, if you remember.
Yeah.
What was the name of that again?
The Padres were the first casualty in 2023.
What was that? Diamond Sports Group or whatever it was called? We talked
Valley
about
Sports San Diego.
Oh, well, you had Bally's too, which also was a nightmare, which those became FanDuel Sports Network and Diamond's Main Street Group and all that nonsense. And now they're not working out. Guess what, everybody? RSNs are dead. Stop buying them.
Yeah, I mean, literally, you can, because we have 2 of them here in SoCal. We've got West, which is formerly FSN West or Fox Sports West. And then we had FanDuel Sports San Diego, which is now SoCal, which was Prime Ticket back in the day, like the original OG RSN out here, along with, Cablevision out on the East Coast or Cable Sports out there in New York and stuff like that. I mean, the era is dead, and I think, though, that you're going to have to eventually, Nick, pivot. I could easily see the Angels going to KTLA Channel 5, Fox 11, KCOP to put the games on cable TV there.
I could see teams going digital.
Or even going digital. Yeah, I would agree. Much like the Ducks and Stars going on to Victory Plus, for example.
But the only thing they have to be careful of is they have to have a local representation on cable.
Yes.
Because that's a law, at least from what I
Yes.
understand, that there has to be a way for people to watch the games on TV.
Yes.
Even if you're 99.9% digital, you still have to have 0.1% ability to watch the games. Look what the NFL does. Even when they're on Amazon, by law, the 2 teams that are on Thursday Night Football have to be on the local affiliates to be carried.
So the Ducks, for example, Victory Plus is their main driver. They have 2 deals with both KCOP Channel 13 and KTTV Fox 11. So they have 2 different outlets they can play on that they can show their games on cable TV.
Yeah, because they wouldn't be in good standing if they didn't have something on TV. At least for now.
Yes.
So I don't know. By the way, speaking of, since we're talking about the digital and the apps and all that stuff,
Yes.
let's talk about Gotham, because
Oh, yes.
that's part 2 if you want to go to that story. So Gotham Sports defies the trend. In a rare move for the streaming era, Gotham Sports, the Yes Network MSG joint venture situation, is cutting prices. The annual bundle has been lowered from $359.99 to $299.99, while the monthly rate dropped to $34.99. This move is designed to attract Yankees and Knicks fans who've been priced out of the traditional cable bundle. Is Gotham Sports admitting that their initial pricing was too aggressive for the average fan, or is this a defensive play to capture as many subscribers as possible before MLB takes its digital rights in-house?
Well, I don't think the Yankees will cough up the revenue from it.
No.
I mean, Manfred's a dumb shit, as we already knew or know, for God's sakes.
It's New
You know,
York.
I'll let you say your piece, because this is obviously in your neck of the woods, though, with this joint venture with every team in the tri-states area being underneath this umbrella.
It's a conflict of interest, if I really had to say it first, because every team is coming together and being under one app. Now, there was a fuck-up situation with a Yankees spring training game the other day. I don't know if you saw this, but they been doing this weird thing with spring training games this preseason where they're just putting certain games on the Gotham app,
Oh,
meaning no Yes Network, no anything.
no Prime,
And
no Prime, no WPIX, none of that.
nothing. Gotham app. That's it. But here's what, do you want to know what happened though? Tech issues.
Of course.
And the game never made it on because of tech issues. What? So you had a bunch of customers who were upset because they wanted to watch the Yankee game and they couldn't do it. So that's the problem with some digital, that if you have tech issues and there's no other way to watch the game because you have digitally exclusive deals, there's no other way to watch the game. Now, the $359 to $299, I'm just trying to do quick math in my head. That's
About 60 bucks off?
Which, that's a lot of money. $359 was ridiculous.
That's way too much money. I mean, I know what you're getting though with that package, because it's the joint Yes Network franchises, Yankees and Nets, for example. MSG's got Devils, Rangers, the Sabres,
Knicks.
the Knicks, you name it. So that's a lot of money though for all that stuff though.
I'm looking at the prices just because I want to see. I want to see what the prices are. Okay, so I just found the prices for Gotham. So the Yankee season pass, meaning if you just want the Yankee games, is $119.99 or $120 a season, which is actually not bad. And then if you want the Yes Network bundle, which is Yankees Nets, it's $174.99 a season or $19.99 a month. And then you could get the MSG Plus for $279.99 or $29.99 a month. And that would be Knicks, Rangers, Islanders, Devils, Sabres. That's $30 a month. That's actually not too bad. And then the big package, which went from $359 to $299, And that would be $35 a month. That would be everything. Yankees, Nets, Knicks, Rangers, Islanders, Devils, Sabres.
Jeez.
But what's interesting is the Yes package is actually cheaper than the MSG package.
Is it because there's fewer teams on Yes?
Yes, no pun intended.
Nooch.
But I would say the Yankee Nets one would have more value than the Knicks, Rangers, Islanders, Devils, and Sabres. No?
I mean, if we're going to look at it that way, probably I'd say the Yes one because the bigger brand is on that platform.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the combined package that they're now doing for $2.99 has everything: Yankees, Nets, Knicks, Rangers, Islanders, Devils, Sabres. That's $299, $99, $300 a year, or $35 a month. That's not terrible. If you're just a sports fan,
Yeah.
$35 a month is not bad in the scheme of things.
No, not at all.
The Yankee season pass, like I said, $120 for the season. That's actually not bad.
Yeah.
I don't know what the math is. You have to do 120 into 100. Well, it's not all the games though, because I'm sure the prime games are not in there, or the national games are not in there.
Right.
It's still not awful,
Yeah, it's not awful.
but is
Could be
Gotham
worse.
Sports is Gotham Sports admitting their initial price it was too aggressive, or is it a defensive play to capture many subscribers? I think their initial price was too high.
Oh, absolutely. Way too high.
$360 is a lot of money to people these days.
Yeah.
$300 is a lot of people to these days.
Yeah.
But if you're a sports fan, $35 a month is not expensive at all.
Yep.
So I would say they're admitting that their price was too aggressive. I think that's what it is.
I mean, in a way, are they kind of in a way admitting defeat? Probably, in your opinion.
Not defeat, because again, the New York brands are always going to be top notch and the biggest. But I think they were too aggressive on the pricing, because they were trying to take advantage of the digital run that everybody else is doing.
The
But-
digital run, the amount of content you would get from all the teams in the tri-state area between, as we already mentioned, I think comes to mind. Again, I wanted you to probably take more of the lead on this one because, again, where I live, here in San Diego, you've got one team on cable. Everyone else is on, national TV or behind paywalls, basically, in a way with how MLS operates with Apple TV Plus, for example, league-wide. There's no local affiliate to show the games on TV. The Wave are occasionally on local TV, but they're more nationally driven with ESPN, CBS, Prime Video, and Ion Victory Plus now for 20 games this upcoming season. Of course, the Padres are on the in-house production, but the games are on cable, though, because my folks are already watching the Padres-Angels game right now on Channel 305. So I'm not sure. We'll see.
I think they just realized it was too expensive.
It had to be too expensive. I agree.
So we'll have to see what happens on that front. But I think they're doing a much better job now of saying, hey, all right, we effed up on this one. We need to lower the prices and say, oh, I wouldn't say it's completely affordable. But,
no, not for the first price. No way.
But it's definitely going in the right direction when it comes to pricing people back into the market, which allows it to say, oh, I can watch my Yankees. I can watch my Nets, my Mets, my Rangers, my Islanders, my Devils, my Sabres. I can watch all that again and not feel like I'm going to lop off an arm and a leg to watch the sport. At least it's
firstborn child.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Should we move on here?
I mean, we're kind of ahead of our time frame here at the rate, but just we're scouring a bit for some late breaking stories across the sports media world. Here, we'll get back on track in about 10 or 15 minutes here to get to hour 3. Nick, a new story has dropped, though, from Alex Scheifer of Front Office Sports. Rick Carlisle has now criticized the NBA over the tanking fee, calling it, or tanking fine, I should say, and he called it utterly ridiculous, per the reports that have gathered. Pacers coach Rick Carlisle shed new light on the NBA's attempt to crack down on tanking on Tuesday during his appearance on Indianapolis Sports Radio 107.5 The Fan. Carlisle spoke about the $100,000 fine the team was levied by the NBA for sitting 3 players versus the Jazz on February 3rd for the first time on Tuesday, for which the league to release a statement over Aaron Naismith's injury, where he suffered a sprained elbow. Carlisle, in part on the radio, said that I did not agree with it, saying of the fine, there was a league lawyer that was doing the interview that kind of unilaterally decided that Aaron Naismith, who had been injured the night beforehand and cannot hold the ball, should have played in the game, which to me just seems ridiculous. Coach Carlisle further elaborated that the NBA declined to speak with the Pacers team doctors or even Aaron himself because they, quote-unquote, did not need to. The NBA also pushed back on Carlisle's comments on Tuesday, calling his statement inaccurate, open and close quote. Nick, obviously, Rick Carlisle is not really a guy who doesn't hold back punches. We obviously know that he had even said that he blames small market syndrome on the NBA for favoring the Knicks over them in the playoffs a few years ago, when they submitted like over 1,000 calls that were missed over the course of 3 games. But Nick, thoughts here about now a coach going after the NBA for the tanking fine that was issued to his organization?
I mean, if there's a legitimate situation where a player is not healthy and can't go, then if it's officially documented, then there really should be no problem when it comes to taking policy. I've been reading across social media that they were saying like to give Naismith like medicine or whatever to allow him to play, and I was like,
cortisone injection, maybe.
And I was like, wait a minute. And I'm trying to just look it up just so I have some. Oh, here. Yeah, this is the story I happen to have seen. So according to Rick Carlisle, NBA did not speak with team doctors before the $100,000 fine. So, number one, that's stupid. If you didn't speak to the team doctors know their players better than anybody.
You would
That's
think.
their job. It's their job. They know medical reports for their own players better than their families. Okay? Now, yeah, I see they referenced the 107.5 The Fan interview that he did. The league lawyer that was doing the interview kind of unilaterally decided Aaron Naismith, who had been injured the night before and couldn't hold the ball, should have played in the game, which just seems ridiculous. Open and close quote. Carlisle said in his most extensive comments about the situation since the February 3rd game and during the interview process, I was not in on it, but I heard the details. We asked them if they wanted to talk to the doctors, our doctors, about it because it was something documented by our doctors and trainers. They said no, they didn't need to. They talked to their doctors who did not examine Aaron Naismith. Quote, and we asked them if they wanted to talk to the players, and they said they didn't need to, which was shocking to me. And during the interview, they also asked if we considered medicating him to play in a game.
Goodness gracious.
When we were 30 games under 500. So I was very surprised. The NBA had a different view about what happened. Quote, Coach Carlisle's description of that process that went into the decision to find the Indiana Pacers inaccurate, a statement from the league read. An independent physician led the medical review. In addition, the Pacers general manager and the team's senior vice president of sports medicine and performance were interviewed as the part of the process. All right. Can you get me that? Can we find that GIF or meme where it's the person and all the scientific things are floating in the air? Because that's how I'm feeling right now. Like, really? Now we're going to fight what a team doctor is saying about their own players? Is this really?
Not just that we're going to compromise the health of a player because we have to have him play in this game.
They're 30 games under 500, damn it. You're really going to care if Aaron Naismith plays with a team that's 30 games under 500? Are you kidding me?
Oh, also.
Oh, no.
We might be having a guest next Wednesday.
Oh, really?
I just got a message back from a potential guest who might be joining the show next Wednesday.
For what?
for press row.
Well, I know, but for what category are we talking about here?
ESPN and Amazon Prime Video NHL analyst Blake Bolden might be joining us next Wednesday.
Oh, I'm actually kind of looking forward to that, actually.
Talk about the Olympics, talk about the NHL, talk about women's hockey, talk about the gold medal victory and her role with the LA Kings, and also her coaching here locally in San Diego.
I have quite a few questions for her, actually, so I'm kind of looking forward to that.
So that's where things stand right now as of late, or as of right now. Nick, how about over in tennis? Both Jessica Pegula and Madison Keys have now told FOS they are now blaming the tough tennis schedule as to why dozens of players have pulled out of tournaments and or retired after the 1,000-level event in Dubai, Saudi Arabia, including from the world top players like both Ariana Sabalenka and Iga Swiatek. Then on Tuesday, Pegula, who was ranked number 5 in the world, withdrew from the ATX Open in Austin, Texas, an event she won last year. She cited the tough tennis schedule, which includes the Australian Open, 4,000-level events and 5 500-level events in the first quarter of the year, and an episode of the Players Box podcast put out on Tuesday. For those who are wondering, top-ranked players are not required to play in any 250-level events like the ATX Open. Both Pegula and co-host Madison Keys also cited how the 4 early season WTA top 100 tournaments or top 1,000 events are scheduled in a Middle East country back-to-back in February. Back-to-back in February with both Qatar and Dubai, followed by a U.S. back-to-back at both Indian Wells in Palm Springs, California, and in Miami Gardens, Florida. Nick, I think eventually you're going to be having an episode about the grind of the WTA, though, but also about how if you're not top 150, there's a lot of different loopholes around the system, though. But, Nick, thoughts about Pegula and Keys sounding off, though, on how the schedule for tennis, though, is so rugged, though, at the start of the season?
This one is tough because it all depends on, like you just said, where your ranking is as a tennis player. Remember, tennis is an individual sport, not a team sport. So you're literally playing through every single tournament, you have to get your way through to be successful as a individual athlete, competitor. I think it also depends on which majors are where they are on the schedule. That's how you determine the international events. So for Australia, I think usually they have Brisbane is usually one of the lead up tournaments, I think, usually.
Sounds about right.
So it all depends on what country you're in, because a lot of times they do warm-up tournaments leading up into the majors, which are usually within the area where they're playing.
They're close by.
So I don't know if Dubai is not near any of the majors. I can say that.
Oh, hell no. They just want that damn freaking Saudi public interest fund money, for God's sakes. Give me a break.
Yeah. I mean, I could have told you that. But it all depends what your rankings are. That's the simple answer I can give. So like players like Sabalenka and Swiatek, they really shouldn't have had to play. Because
that is pretty bogus, if you ask me, honestly.
Well, they probably chose to play. But Sabalenka and Swiatek are in the top 3 seeds. So
yeah,
they shouldn't have to play in every tournament. But if you remember what we talked about when we were looking through putting those episodes together, the point system.
Yes.
Because the point system determines the ranks.
I mean, them literally saying, this is a 1,000-level event, 500-level event. I mean, does that come down to points, basically, in a roundabout way?
Well, you have to remember, when you win a major, you win points, a lot of points. People forget that, oh, well, a major's a major. It means nothing else besides winning a major championship. No, it means a lot. Just besides winning the big trophy and winning a lot of money and a lot of prestige, that's points that go towards your ranking.
Right.
You know how they say, like, depending on if, like, the number 1 overall player and the 2 and the 3 are close, they say, oh, well, if someone goes further than this person in the tournament, then the rankings flip-flop. That's true. That's a truth statement. So the tennis schedule has always been brutal and grueling.
I agree.
It's funny, though, that now all of a sudden they're calling it out when they weren't for many years.
Is it because of the onus maybe now on player health and safety since coming out of COVID?
I don't know. but he's is ranked 15, so she's in the top 20 players. She probably needs to play it more than, say, like a Sabalenka or a Swiatek. But even being in the top 15, you would think that you don't need to play. But if you don't play, you don't make money. The sponsors don't contribute unless you play. Remember, you're an athlete, okay? And again, I'm not putting that down. Being a professional athlete is brutal. It's hard. You're training nonstop around the clock to be a professional athlete.
Right.
But we're not digging ditches and saving lives over here. Okay? I mean, you're not a garbage man. You're not a doctor. You're not that. You want to talk about grueling work. Try being a doctor during COVID when you couldn't leave the fucking hospital for 20-hour shifts at a time, which would be illegal in the real world. But being an athlete is tough. I'm not taking that away, but they make a lot of money for the amount of work that they put in.
Nick, Mark Walters' Lakers cabinet will not include a reunion with former Lakers great Magic Johnson, the legendary Laker and current Dodgers co-owner, who's also a founding member of Walters' Guggenheim Baseball Group, will not have a new daily role with his former franchise, according to the Lakers' newly appointed president of basketball business operations, Lon Rosen. In part, Walter, who took control of the Lakers from the Buss family back in October after a deal that valued the team for a record $10 billion, recently brought Rosen over from the Dodgers. Rosen had been the Dodgers executive VP and CMO since Walter bought the franchise in 2012 and was Johnson's longtime agent before that time frame happened. Obviously, of course, though, Nick, what the Dodgers have done for baseball is one thing. Now we'll see what Mark Walter can do for basketball. But of course, though, Nick, I'm not really surprised, though, because I think that the way that Magic Johnson left the franchise, though, with how he publicly admitted that he was going to sell off part of his ownership stake that Jerry Buss gave him at one point was very much awkward when that whole thing came out. And I'm not shocked he's not going to go back.
I don't know. I mean, first of all, Mark Walters filthy rich. Number one, this guy just is going to buy everything. So what? Now he has the Dodgers and the Lakers and. What else does he have?
The PWHL.
The guy's worth what? You said like $10 billion?
More than that.
Because I just want to look up. Let's see. Look up the ownership. He's got the Sparks too.
Yep.
He's got Chelsea FC. How much does he? Billie Jean King Cup. CEO of Guggenheim Partners.
His name is on the trophy of the PWHL Championship Trophy.
It's amazing. I mean, the guy is so rich he could literally do whatever he wants, and no one could stop him. I mean, we're gonna get to a story about him and the Lakers in a little bit, but the man is so filthy rich he can literally snap his fingers and make anything happen. Literally.
Yeah, I cannot agree more with that. One more late-breaking story here, Nick, at this rate, courtesy of awfulannouncing.com. Some sad news, though, in the world of sports radio, but SiriusXM NHL Network radio host Jim Boomer Gordon passed away on Monday, per reports gathered from Awful Announcing, after he was battling cancer. Per the reports gathered, SiriusXM NHL Network Radio shared the news of his passing on Twitter, writing in part that we are deeply saddened to share the news of the passing of our friend and SiriusXM NHL Network Radio host Jim Boomer Gordon. After a courageous battle with cancer, Boomer passed away this week, surrounded by loved ones. He'll be greatly missed by all of us, both on and off of the air. Boomer had hosted The Point with Boomer Gordon on NHL Network Radio daily from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern, alongside co-host Jay Kahn. He had also been sparingly on air in recent months while fighting cancer, a battle that began more than 3 years ago. Despite his diagnosis, Gordon continued to host the show that bore his name until taking a leave of absence at the end of January due to his declining health. Jay Kahn did continue hosting the show solo, and Wednesday's episode served as a tribute to his longtime co-host earlier this afternoon and day, with NHL writer Jeff Merrick also writing in part that one of the most talented broadcasters in hockey, consistently interesting. He fought cancer with everything he had right to the end. We said our goodbyes last week. He'll be deeply missed. Condolences go to Boomer and his family. Of course, Nick, I say this every year, though, whenever the NHL or hockey in general has their fight cancer nights. Obviously, we all get the placards, as we see with the All-Star game for baseball, with the initiatives there. We've all been touched by cancer, and it sucks, though, to see, someone else lose their battle with it, though, but that they fight like hell to the very end of the battle.
No, it's this business. Like, when you're in it for the long haul. And when you hear someone pass away, it's rough. It's rough. I mean, hockey is more of a family when it comes to media than most.
And I think a lot of that, Nick, goes to the fact that the sport is still a very much nuanced or niche sport, as you'll hear on Thursday with D-Mart and Johnny Montalbano, with how their show revolved around hockey, but was more of a crap fest on the sport more than anything else, though, sadly, from my perspective about it. Again, as someone who has been around the game for 25 years and is, my entire announcing career has been made via the sport. But that the community is very much tight-knit. Yeah, we can root for different teams or agree to disagree about certain players or about, what had gone on over in Italy. But, yeah, at the end of the day, hockey is family, hockey is friends, hockey is community. And whenever you lose somebody like this, though, and obviously Jim Gordon had done great work for Sirius for so long, again, Nick, as I long believe, though, still, even with all the growth of the NHL, 32 teams, they've gone to Vegas, they've gone to Seattle, they've gone across the American Southwest and into untapped markets who produce top-tier talent from Southern California, from Texas, from Miami, from Florida in general. As I also had said, though, on the Sunshine Hockey episode of Small Market Edition about how the game has exploded out here in the last 25, 30, 35, 40 years, if not longer, that whenever you hear the news, though, it's like you lose a member of your family, as you were kind of alluding to, recently.
Right. I mean, like I said, hockey's more tight-knit, so it's a little bit more of a closer connection in the hockey community than it is to some other sports. I want to get to one more because I mentioned this to you and we didn't get a chance to add it to the show. ESPN executives announced the end of the Sue Bird and Deanna Taurasi alternative cast for the women's Final Four.
Boo.
I happen to have liked this, believe it or not, because it was fun to see them kind of go outside the box. They were drinking away during the show, which was funny.
Yeah, why do I feel like that's the reason why it got canceled? Because people were complaining too much about the red Solo Cups being on the air. Who cares? They're there to watch the game.
They weren't even Solo Cups. They were like fancy, like red mason jar type cups, which were kind of cool.
Why do I still like, though, somebody out there complained about it to the ESPN executives?
How is this any different, though, than like when McAfee did the alternative cast for the national championship when he was
let alone the Manning cast, for God's sakes, on ESPN2 during the NFL season? Is it because it's women's basketball versus football? Don't give me that shit, people. Stop.
I mean, they didn't drink, though. I'll give them that. They never drank when they were on set. The Manning cast, but that's not the point.
Still, we're gonna ditch one alt cast because of whatever reasons are.
No, I'm with you. I liked watching it. It was one of my favorites to watch during the tournament. It's not me. I think they got this wrong. But it says ESPN is parting ways with two women's basketball legends at an NCAA Women's Final Four preview event in Phoenix on Tuesday. ESPN Senior Vice President Meg Aronowitz announced that Sue Bird and Deanna Taurasi will no longer host the Bird and Taurasi show on ESPN2. The altcast ran for 6 years. Oh, so it ran for 6 years, and they got great value out of it for 6 years. Now they don't want it anymore. What? But Aronowitz, who oversees most non-football college sports programming at the worldwide leader, said a new secondary broadcast will take its place for the Final Four and national championship game on April 2nd and 5th. We are, quote, we are reimagining for what we call our alternate cast, Aronowitz said on the kickoff event.
Reimagining. This sounds like theme park lingo when they shut down a ride at California Adventure at Disneyland, for God's sake.
No, you want to know what that sounds like? We want to be more politically correct, so we can't have the two of them on there. She also went on to say, quote, "It has been Sue Bird and Deanna Taurasi for the last 6 years, and we are grateful for them and our time with us, but we are going to reimagine and rethink how we bring the viewer that alternate cast." I'm sorry, what? What? Reimagine basically means we don't like your politicking of whatever, so we're going to find someone else that we can control. Right? Aronowitz said details on the new format will be released soon. The Bird and Taurasi show was a hit for ESPN. The two lifelong friends brought real chemistry to the air, drew fantastic guests, and generated news-making moments. If you remember, every time that show was on, it was always on SportsCenter for the funny moments that they would have.
All the time, yes.
It was everything a network could want from an alternative cast. Now listen to this. Even drawing 1.4 million viewers for the 2024 National Championship game. For reference, now here's where it's going to sound ridiculous. For reference, the Manning cast averaged 810,000 views for ESPN's NFL wildcard game last month. They drew 1.4 million.
Oh, we don't want it, though.
Sorry, the numbers never lie, right?
Yeah, so they say.
Since the ESPN2 telecast launched, however, both players have retired. Bird became involved with USA Basketball and took an ownership stake in her former team, the Seattle Storm. She also hosts 2 podcasts for Vox Media, which are co-produced by her media company.
And one of them is with her wife, Megan Rapinoe.
Yes. Taurasi has largely stayed out of the spotlight since retiring, aside from the release of a documentary about her on Prime Video last year.
Which was really well done, by the way.
The 2 stars have not commented on the end of the Final Four. All guess. This is stupid. This is stupid. I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
I mean, if they're averaging more views than Eli and Peyton Manning, then why all of a sudden is it like not a good, like, why is it not a thing? Or why is it not good now for the product?
Because it's football.
Well, other than it being hand egg. Well, I mean, what other reason can someone give me about why it was such a bad thing?
NFL.
Away from the no fun league.
No, because it's the NFL.
It's April, for God's sakes, you morons.
Yeah, well, we now have a deal with the NFL Network because we bought it, so that means we got to put more NFL on.
Oh, woo-hoo. So that's why you canceled Around the Horn too, huh?
No, I'm with you on this one, for sure. The numbers tell you that it should have stayed. Why? Because it's women's sports? That's why you're removing it?
There, you just answered the question for me. There you go.
I think those 2 were the funniest, one of the more funnier alternative casts on TV.
Couldn't agree more.
Imagine
if they were doing a podcast while they were playing, like, playing back in, like, at UConn, for example, or in the pros.
But they probably weren't the same people, though.
No, they weren't. But still, it'd be funny.
I mean, Taurasi was outspoken at UConn, from what I remember.
Big time outspoken. Big time.
I don't know about Bird, but
Sue was really just kept to herself a lot, honestly. But I think now with the explosion of the internet, the whole lay your hair down thing, embrace the role in a way.
I mean, Sue kind of opened up on that altcast.
I think now she's taken up a lot of ownership, though, with the Storm. I think part of the Seahawks, part of the Sounders, I think, the NWSL franchise up there, the PWHL franchise up there.
I'm wondering if, again, some of the politicking of ownership might have gotten to that, too.
Maybe.
Which, who cares? Most players have ownership, and they do whatever they want. Something must have happened behind the scenes at ESPN.
Yeah, you would have to think. One more quick story, Nick, by the way. They don't start play till 2028, but the unnamed NWSL Atlanta franchise has signed a $28 million deal, ironically enough, for what year they start play, with Aflac Insurance to be their jersey sponsor in 2 years. Affleck.
They're signing deals and they're 2 years away?
And they will be owned by Arthur Blank, who owns the Falcons and also owns the MLS club down in Atlanta, and they will be playing at Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Wow. Talk about getting an early entrance sponsor right off the bat, right?
Yeah, I don't think the Wave got on that proverbial wave that early when they became a franchise, but I know they kind of jumped at it pretty quickly when they went that route though of going that direction.
You better hope the team doesn't go under before it starts.
And I don't think they will though, Nick, for the simple fact of how, because a lot of people scoffed at Atlanta becoming a soccer market because, well, you got the Braves, you've got the Falcons, you've got, all these, other entities out there. No, when they're bringing 70,000 people into that stadium, and if they don't get a sellout, Nick, they got these curtains that they can tarp off the upper level and make the noise stay inside the stadium that much better. And they literally won the cup like their first 1 or 2 years in the league. So Atlanta is definitely going to, Atlanta is definitely a soccer market all of a sudden because of how that is. Now it's a matter of, the momentum carry over, but I don't mind them jumping on the trend early on to start off their year when they're still 2 years away from becoming a franchise, though. It's interesting, but I think I'm not surprised, though, at it as well.
No, it makes sense. I mean,
Affleck. No,
Huh?
I think it would have been more poetic if they would have had the Home Depot be a sponsor because Arthur Blank helped start Home Depot.
That's true. And they give you cash, which is just as good as money.
Now maybe Home Depot becomes a jersey patch or a sleeve patch mate or a sleeve sponsor of the team.
Are they allowed to do that, or is
yeah? Because the Wave have Dexcom and SDFC has a insurance guru on their sleeve.
I was going to say, are they going to do that, or is Jessica Berman going to be an asshole again?
I don't think she's as bad as Kathy Engelbert.
No one as bad as
no one is as bad as Kathy Engelbert. Oh,
I mean, at least Berman gave in on the salary for Trinity
yeah,
Rod.
And it's also a bit weird that Denver, and we said this last night before we get back on track for hour 3, the Denver Summit, that's the name of the team in Denver, Colorado. Yeah. They've already sold 40,000 seats or tickets for their first game, and they're playing, I believe what I heard, part of their first year is going to be in Power Field at Mile High.
Yeah, where the Broncos play.
Their jersey has a wide open. They don't have a sponsor yet, so I'm gonna see. I'll be kind of intrigued about who they pick for theirs because
they'll get one. Don't
I mean, every team gets one. I mean, it might. I mean, now would this, Nick, be a conflict? I don't know if it would be though. If they had Walmart be on their jersey sponsor, which I don't think it would because the Walter Penner Group is not a part of that ownership group.
Doesn't stop them from being a sponsor, though.
That is true, though. Yes.
I doubt it. I don't know if that really fits the market for the NWSL, but
by the way, their owners, for those wondering, Robert Cohen is the lead owner of the Denver Summit. Peyton Manning and Michaela Schifrin are the two lead investors of the franchise.
Wow. It's interesting.
Which Michaela Schifrin's from Colorado, big name in women's sports, so it makes sense.
Hey, it means that they got some big backers behind it, which is good.
And they did beat out both Cleveland and Cincinnati them in Denver and Boston both beat out Cleveland and Cincinnati for the franchise for the bids for this year at least.
I mean, if they get the right investors and the right ownership and the right locale in place, then obviously they'll be fine.
And I believe that they are going to be building a new stadium, I believe, in the capital of Centennial, Colorado, in the next couple of years to host their home games.
If they have the money and they have the audience, then they'll
same eventually with Boston Legacy, who's going to be playing at Gillette Stadium for their first couple of games too. All right, Nick, hour 3 gets underway on the prediction market home front again. New unsealed court documentation has finally revealed the details of Fanatics' legal battle to block former CBO Ari Barad from joining prediction market rival Polymarket. The suit now includes claims that Fanatics founder Michael Rubin, ya boy, personally invested in Kalshi before launching a competing product. The two sides have reached a settlement, but the documents reveal Fanatics' deep anxieties regarding the rise of prediction marketplaces. Nick, is the new aggressive attempt to block this hire suggest that Fanatics views prediction markets, not traditional sports books, as their biggest long-term competitor for the sports fans' wallet?
This story is ridiculous.
You know what I have to say about that, Nick?
What?
It's not my wallet.
Oh God. I mean, this story is such
Clown show! Clown show! Clown show! Clown show!
and I had to like dive into this story to really understand what was going on with it. So I found the front office sports story that really dug into it. So Polymarket announced the hiring of Ari Barad, which you mentioned. Behind the scenes, Fanatics sued to stop the prediction market platform from poaching Barad, although the two sides eventually agreed to settle. That's weird. What are you settling on? What are you settling on? That's what I don't get. While Barad has now been announced as Polymarket's president of sports business development, unsealed documents from the suit obtained by Front Office Sports revealed new information about Fanatics' apparent plans to purchase an exchange and a claim that Fanatics founder Michael Rubin and betting CEO Matt King are personally invested in Kalshi. What? The suit also bears an ironic resemblance to what happened when Fanatics hired executive Michael Hermalayan away from DraftKings, and DraftKings sued, citing a violation of a non-compete clause. Fanatics sued Barad on January 12th in a Florida state court to prevent him from joining Polymarket, although the complaint was filed under seal. A filing from Barad that was publicly available reveals previously unreported details about Fanatics' pursuit of purchasing an exchange clearinghouse, as well as alleged investments from Rubin and King in Kalshi. God, oh, this is so confusing.
Why, man? Why?
Barad claimed he transparently informed Fanatics of his plans to leave in December and offered to delay his departure to ensure a smooth transition. However, Fanatics, intent on retribution, sought to stop him from taking the Polymarket job by asserting he was subject to a 1-year non-compete agreement. Barad's agreement, however, simply has no such provision. Fanatics nonetheless threatened that if Barad did not abandon his plans to join Polymarket, the entire weight of Fanatics would be brought against him.
Jeez.
He said Fanatics made good on that threat by bringing the lawsuit.
Okay.
Despite the heated nature of the claims, the two sides informed the court February 2nd they have reached a settlement. The court agreed to pause proceedings while the two sides, quote, complete the documentation of their settlement.
Oh, okay.
This is stupid. This is really stupid. Like,
I mean, everything revolving around a damn prediction market, Nick, is just getting more and more out of control. It's almost pointless now that we even try our best to cover this crap. It's just because there's no proper way. I don't know what's worse, Nick. Prediction markets popping up like pimples on prom night, or NIL and transfer portal issues in college athletics.
There's too much just between the prediction markets and the marketplace and what's considered legal, what's not legal, insider trading. I mean, we did that story on the CEO of which one was it that was trying to explain what insider trading was?
Oh, Kalshi's.
And you and I were ready to smash our heads against the wall.
Yep.
He was trying to say, oh, it's not insider trading on what Bad Bunny does during the show or what he tells friends or whatever. But
Oh, okay.
This is so stupid. And then they actually have here the notice of filing, so they actually did file a lawsuit against Barad.
Wow.
If you are a contracted employee, it's a different ball game than just.
It is.
If you're what do they call it? Not a no fault state, but what is it called in working when you're a
Independent contractor?
At will employee. Meaning if I wanted to, I could leave or I could fire you. Like it goes both ways.
Oh, okay.
I don't know in this situation. I'd have to look it up because I don't know where this was filed in Florida. So, but you have to remember, all these digital companies are put money in a million different places so they don't get taxed nonstop. But
Aspiration.
this one's like above our pay grades, really. If he's a contracted employee, then it's a different situation. But if he doesn't have a non-compete, then they have a choice. Either they could say, look, you're under our jurisdiction contract-wise, you have to stay here, or you give up your contracted amount, whatever you were going to be paid. You say, fine, I won't take any money, but I'm leaving.
Oh, okay. I'm just gonna take my ball and go home.
Oh, take me home.
Country roads, take me home to the place I belong.
Okay, thank you, John Denver.
Southern California.
Yeah, this one's out of my pay grade.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, but I also think, though, Nick, to your point, though, Michael Rubin's a dumbass, though. Give me a break.
I mean,
He's getting more and more out of control by the passing day. It's ridiculous.
I mean, you have ownership in Kalshi.
Like, come on, bro. What more do you need?
I give up.
I'm tapping out.
Ugh, I mean, done. Or
Is this the Krusty Krab? No! This is Patrick! I'm not a Krusty Krab.
Patrick, that's the name of the restaurant.
Huh? Fish paste!
That's Michael Rubin right now.
or better yet.
my God, who the hell cares?
All right, let's move on here. Let's talk about the Lakers, shall we?
The
So,
Lakers.
new Lakers owner Mark Walter is already making his mark, no pun intended.
Dooch. We'll be here all week, folks.
Try the fish. With steep ticket price increases for the 26-27 season. Some season ticket holders in the 300 level are reporting increases as high as 45%. With the team citing With the team citing current market landscape and demand.
Oh, okay.
The team is also ditching interest-free payment plans in favor of a new 3% admin fee. Is the Lakers organization banking on Luka mania and LeBron's longevity okay, to justify these prices? Or are they riskily, I didn't even know that was a word, pricing out the loyal, die-hard fan base in favor of the high-end tourist? This is so stupid.
I mean, come on. You know, the Lakers, as I said, though, in the Unwritten Will episode of the Small Market Edition podcast, which, by the way, that was a long episode that went, though, but it covered a lot of, great.
That area?
Yeah, it aired last Friday. Last Friday, yes.
Good episode.
Yeah, it was very great. And Nick, the Lakers have obviously been, as I said, though, they have been one of the most glamorous franchises in the NBA. From a simple fact, though, of what the Buss family, mainly Jerry Buss, made the Lakers into back in the Showtime era, the 80s, late 70s, 80s, 90s, and how, though, he simply made the NBA all about entertainment. This is the guy who at one point said, I'm going to sell seats on the court and you can't tell me otherwise. The NBA said no. That was the birth, Nick, of courtside seats. I'm going to have Paula Abdul and these cheerleaders come out during timeouts to entertain the crowd. The NBA said, sir, you can't do that. It gave birth to easily one of the number 1B cheerleading squads in all of North American professional sports, not named the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, with the Laker girls. He had the live band play the defense chants. He had the organ playing. No actual music was played except for just, a pipe organ inside of the Forum or at Staples Center for the longest time. But also, though, Nick, at the same time, obviously, yes, we know, though, Nick, that the Lakers have been a Hollywood brand. The images of Rod Stewart, Michael Jackson, Paula Abdul, Jack Nicholson going to all the games, and sitting courtside. that they became a destination. But now, Nick, as we said, though, I think I want to say maybe D. Martino and I said this on MTGP last Thursday. You said this too, I think, on the lounge the last couple of times. We no longer care about two friends like us going to watch the Lakers play the Nets bet in March at crypto.com. We care about the suite level high rollers. We care about the floor seats and the 100 level seats and the long-time season
Celebrity Row.
Yeah, Celebrity Row at MSG, for example.
Staples Center. Well,
yeah, crypto.com arena, but we care more about those people than the common man, the common family of four, those, as you said, those who travel. I came 10,000 miles or 30,000 miles from Europe to watch Luka play, for example. Those are the people, Nick, who I think probably more in the NBA than any other sport. This is, I think, maybe, okay, and I've long said this, though, Nick, even before I stopped watching the NFL. The NFL and the NBA are the two, I think, most expensive sports to watch in person. Hockey's probably a third because of how it is. I would throw soccer matches in there, especially if you get a rivalry like LA versus LA, for example. The Pigeons playing the Red Bulls, for example, in your neck of the woods in New York City. In New York, because they call New York City the Pigeons. That's their nickname. But that we are forgetting, though, that, Nick, that the fan base isn't all about corporate sponsorship and not all about celebrities, but the common man like yourself and me and our ETB family of hosts here, that we love going to games too. But if you keep raising prices, you lose the common fan interest to watch the game live in person, and will be more relegated, like yourself, to sit on the couch, watch the game, order DoorDash, open a bottle of Pinot, and watch the game on TV with no lines for the bathroom and the concession stands at the ballpark or at the arena.
Oh, yeah. I said that the other day. Yes, that it does. The tickets are too expensive. Like, that's why I go on StubHub or the ticket devices. I'm willing to pay those prices. I think I said this to you very early on when we started doing the show. You'd be an idiot to go on the team site to buy tickets because they mark them up by 30, 40, 50%.
If not more.
You go and you buy someone else's tickets who can't go to the game, you're going to get them for what, half the price at times? Like,
if that, yes.
Every game, to the 11 or 12 stadiums I've been to for Major League Baseball have all been StubHub tickets. You see a pattern here, right?
I do, yes.
That why am I going to go buy through a team? You're going to charge me all the fucking fees that I don't want to pay. I could just go. Now, you're going to pay a small fee through StubHub, but it's not going to be anything like, because at least the fee would cover the small amount just to get the ticket. The markup is plus the fees through the team is worse.
Right.
Way worse. And this, if I'm a Laker fan, I say F you to Mark Walters.
I'm going to become a Clipper fan. How about that?
No.
Hey, I got Ticketmaster seats for that game I went to for $25 to watch the NBA in person.
That's not bad.
Those weren't resales either. That was a legitimate price for that game versus the 76ers at Intuit Dome.
Which section was it?
Upper level.
Okay.
But still, $25 for an NBA game?
Was that an aisle or anything, or no?
On the aisle.
You're like me. I like sitting.
Bathroom right behind me. Beer stand right, one section over.
Are you like me though? Like you like sitting on ends because it's easier to see.
Oh yeah, because I can put my legs in the aisleway, not have to put them on the back of a seat because I'm too damn tall for the seat half the time.
See, that's like me. I don't like. I like to have room, like with my foot sometimes to move it. Or
yes,
and then you don't. The only annoying thing is so that you have to get up when people annoyingly from the middle of the row.
Yep.
I need food. I need bathroom. But just sit down, damn it. Leave me alone.
Wait till the end of the quarter.
Or wait to the end of the inning. Like, oh
yes.
Just stop it. But
oh no, why would I do that?
But 45%, like I can't even. First of all, why are you raising prices? Like, you're worth $10 freaking billion or more.
Oh, because I can.
And if he gives me a bullshit excuse where, oh well, we're gonna do renovations and we're gonna
Well, they actually are in the middle of renovating the arena right now in downtown LA. But yes,
No, but I'm just saying, like, if you're gonna give me a bullshit excuse to, oh, we're gonna make the attraction of crypto.com. But first of all, I could give two shits about the attraction of any stadium. I go because I want to see a stadium, but am I really gonna care if you put in like robots and shit like all over the stadium? No, I'm not. I don't care. Even though I think it'd be cool to go to Intuit Dome because of what you told me about the food situation, where literally it's like you walk into the what is it? It was like a fresh direct or whatever you
yeah,
said.
like a grab and go, basically. Yeah.
And like you said you don't even swipe card, right? Like it knows.
So it's linked to the Clippers and Intuit Dome app. You have to either get there's facial scanning, or you can tap your phone with your ID pass to get into the arena, which, by the way, you have to go through security first on the outskirts of the building, and then you scan your tickets in like about another 1,000 feet in front of you to get into the actual dome. And then for merch and for concessions, they'll charge you like $1, for example, just to walk in. But then if you don't buy anything, you'll get it back. That's for the merchandise areas and the food. It's literally grab and go, and you're back in your seat. And then, of course, there's like the 1,500 bathrooms around there. You literally can't miss it. And yes, they do have all these clocks too that show you how much time's left in the quarter, or until the game begins, or until the half is over.
I mean, that's kind of cool. So at least you know, like, you're not missing anything. At least.
I mean, but no, the arena's beautiful. I'd love to go back sometime soon though to catch a game again because it was awesome. By the way, Nick, because me and a friend are looking at maybe going when the Lakers play your beloved Nets at the end of March at Staples.
Yikes.
The cheapest seats right now are $99 in section 307 in the 8th row of the section.
Ugh, that's ridiculous. And then that's
$99.22.
That's ridiculous. And that's suck. Like big time.
But you know why though? It's that expensive?
Why?
Friday night basketball game.
Who cares? Lakers Nets is not what it once was. Like really?
You suck.
And then if you were to go and check the Clipper tickets for tomorrow's game on Prime Video versus the Wolves at Intuit Dome at 7:00 local time, you could get in, Nick, in Terrace 1, behind the basket but like behind the basket direct view, upper level, $35 for one ticket.
It's not terrible.
For a team 3 games under 500 facing massive issues when it comes to aspiration, but yet you can go to an NBA basketball game for $35.
Yeah, it's not bad in the long run now that you say it that way.
I mean, let's see. They play the Pelicans on Sunday. Both teams suck. Get-in price is $25. Same section. 2 rows further down, though.
You know why the Nets one are more expensive? Because they consider that New York market.
Yeah. I mean, for the Pacers, $19 for an NBA game.
Because they suck. I could have told you that.
Yeah, I mean, but I think, though, Nick, more importantly, the diehard fans are the ones who lose here. Those who have bled purple and gold their whole life. I mean, if you're not in a certain, it feels like, Nick, if you're not in a certain tax bracket now, you can't watch the Lakers play in LA at the arena.
Because they need all the celebrities there, and they need to make it look like, a $10 ticket is worth $1 million. Like, would I like to see, because I will never call it crypto.com arena, really. But I want to see Staples Center. Yeah, I do. I'd like to see it one day.
You have a better shot seeing the LA Kings play probably than you do the Lakers.
Probably. I mean, would Intuit Dome be fun to see? Yeah, it would. But
I think you'd enjoy Intuit Dome. There's just a lot of technology you have to use to literally get into the damn arena.
That's the annoying part. I mean, just because of how I operate, I'd want to see Dodger Stadium probably when I go to LA, but just because I've seen MLB stadiums and I've done a bunch. But
by the way, you
yeah,
were saying about the New York market being a big draw.
Yeah.
March 8th, the Lakers host the Knicks at 3:30 Eastern at crypto.com. The upper level is going for $167.
Because the Knicks are a massive playoff team right now. That's why. Everyone wants to see the Knicks right now.
What else do we got? We got the Lakers and the Nuggets next Saturday or in 2 weeks on the 14th.
Again, the Nuggets are a top team.
182.
More than the Knicks?
More than the Knickerbockers.
Yeah, because it's big rival. That's why.
Okay, how about when they play Oklahoma City in April on a Tuesday? Get-in price is 181 and 50 cents.
I was going to say close to 200. Yeah.
Defending champs, young team, exciting team to watch.
Yeah, but if Shea's not playing, it's not worth anything.
And their final home game against the Jazz, $222 because people think that's LeBron's final game as a Laker.
Well, they think it was going to be his last game, period.
Yes, but still, it's $222 to get in right now for the upper tank.
We all know that's not going to be his last game, though.
No. All right, Nick, we'll get to one more story here with some time to kill, but of course, Nick, more with Kalshi. The NCAA has formally requested that the prediction market Kalshi remove the March Madness branding trademark from its platform. The NCAA has claimed that the use of the term is a misrepresentation of league involvement. Kalshi has already begun to remove the phrase in some areas, but continues to offer contracts based on tournament outcomes. Nick, does Charlie Baker's crew actually have the audacity to stop prediction markets from using their trademarks in a descriptive way, or is this another losing legal battle for the Baker admin running the NC2A, in your opinion?
I think this is just more an argument of they just don't want March Madness on there because they've seen all the gambling issues going on with what happened. They just had a huge scandal in college basketball with all those schools.
Yes.
They're seeing what happened with the NBA with the gambling scandal going on right now. So I think the NCAA is doing the smart thing, saying, look, we don't want to deal with prediction market bullcrap because of all these weird sentences and statements and things. So I actually think this is the right move by March Madness because most people that are watching March Madness, number one, are not old enough to bet on it.
Right.
And there's also a lot of rules for what you can bet on. Like, I think in most states you can't do props for college basketball and college football too. I don't think you can do props.
Yeah.
But I get it. Like, March Madness doesn't want to deal with the onslaught of potential lawsuits and stuff if they have to deal with, well, did this action happen? Did this action happen? He said this, but this action didn't happen. They don't want to deal with that mess.
Right. Yeah, I also think, Nick, I wonder how much, though, that last season's tournament with those PSAs about, don't harass the players, if you're going to bet wisely. I wonder how much of that became a talking point amongst the NCAA upper brass with Charlie Baker, who, by the way, Nick, Charlie Baker's been fighting a massive war, though, recently between, the college football nonsense, but also, Nick, the bigger one, though, for me, though, is the ongoing onslaught, though, of the G League guys coming to play back in college again, where, once again, Charles Bediako got denied his injunction, so he is, again, officially done playing for Alabama this year for the second time in a matter of weeks.
And I think they were right, because once you get drafted into the NBA, whether it's the G League or whether it's the NBA itself, how can you be re-eligible to join a college team? And he signed a deal for an NIL.
Exactly.
Sorry. But basically, I don't know. I don't know with this situation how it gets. Well, I think they're doing the right thing, like I said, getting away from prediction markets and getting away from the situation because legalities are a problem.
Big time.
So I don't know what to say. I don't know how to. I don't know how Kalshi's going to stay in business if they keep losing.
I don't know how either of these are going to be staying in business anytime soon, especially those bums over at Novig.
Well, Novig, Kalshi, Polymarket. I'm sure more are going to pop up and then you have DraftKings and FanDuel getting into prediction market business.
I would probably trust them more because they've been, at least they're a legitimate brand who knows what the hell they're doing, but still.
Right, but I think we should just stay away from prediction markets. Like, we learned our lesson trying to work with them, and then they screwed us over. Like, so I don't know anymore. I mean, but March Madness, like, they have a huge brand to protect.
They do.
Also. So I want to look up I want to see which professional sports don't want, if I could spell, that would be great. Prediction markets. Professionals who often avoid. Let's see. Okay, that didn't give me the results I was looking for. It's just telling me about states. So like New Jersey and all that stuff where it's partially legal. But let's see, leaders in the organization like the NFL and NCAA have blocked players from endorsing. Oh, right. Remember we
yes. That's right.
We talked about that too. What was it? Golf. Because what was it, DeChambeau?
Yes.
DeChambeau has the deal with Kalshi, right?
Yes.
And the PGA told him, look, you're not allowed back here because we don't approve of prediction markets.
Correct.
Now, I think that's essentially what March Madness and the NCAA is saying. That take us out of your algorithm and out of any of the bets you put out because we don't want to be in bed with prediction markets.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, if I remember correctly, and I'd have to ask Zan or Tom or Jack from Outsiders, but I think the UFC just made a huge deal with Polymarket.
Well, I feel like they may have. Hang on, let's see.
Yeah, they did. In November 2025, TKO, which owns UFC and the WWE,
and Zuffa Boxing,
and announced a multi-year partnership making Polymarket the official and exclusive prediction market partner for UFC and Zuffa Boxing.
Yeah.
And they had a gambling scandal of their own.
Yeah, wasn't there like one card where like a fight got pulled off because the red flags got waved?
Few fights.
Yeah.
Tom and Zan and Jack had the guy on who broke the story.
Oh, I remember that happening, yes.
So it's a weird spot we're in currently with prediction markets. And my advice after working with one and learning the hard way, don't do it. Don't work with prediction markets because there's no regulation.
Driving, don't do it.
There's no regulation. Like cryptocurrency, there's no regulation to it whatsoever. There's no way to regulate a prediction market and what's legal and what's not. I mean, if you remember what Nick D went through with betting on Cardi B, whether she was singing and dancing in the background, and they tried to say that she wasn't
actually performing.
Right.
Yeah, that whole thing is still weird for me, if you ask me.
Yeah, I don't know how you would handle that, but just stay away from it. Just stay away from it.
I mean, college sports have too much of a big brand like March Madness to protect, and Charlie Baker just can't catch a break. That poor guy must be up at night with cold sweats because something else is going to pop up on the radar the next morning.
I mean, remember when they tried to approve betting? And
it was the day of the NBA gambling scandal coming out.
Like, Jesus, like, guys, your timing's got to be better.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Sea Weevil.
Yorgie Schmorgie.
Exactly.
All right, Nick, a couple more hot off the press, some late developing stories here from across our outlets of FOS and also from Awful Announcing. Nick, Kevin Pillar, a former 13-year MLB player who also played briefly for the LA Angels 2 years ago, is now calling on Moreno to sell the franchise in wake of the very much interesting comments made by Artie Moreno over the course of the weekend that we touch base on the lounge on Monday. Pillar, in part on Foul Territory, and via longtime baseball writer Jeff Fletcher of the SoCal News Group, Pilar said in part that Moreno needs to get rid of the team because he really does not care about the Angels, open and close quote. Of course, Moreno told Jeff Fletcher on Friday that the number one thing fans want is affordability. They want affordability, they want safety, and they want a good experience when they come to the ballpark. Believe it or not, winning is not in the top 5, open and close quote. Pilar Nick becomes the first known former Angel to call on Moreno to sell the franchise that he has owned since he bought it from the Disney Corporation back in 2003. Obviously, Nick, this story has gotten more and more traction. Obviously, the Players Association said their piece, but now, Nick, a former player for the franchise is now saying their piece on a show. Yikes.
We all know how this is going to end. Like, people are going to bitch and moan and scream and say he's a bad guy, which he is. He's known for being a bad guy. He's worth $5 billion. He's worth a lot of money. And it's just a problem. And should he have said that that winning is 5th on his priority list? No, he shouldn't have said it. It's a bad look. But there's nothing illegal about what he said either. I know I hate bringing that terminology and that phrase up. It's not like Robert Sarver and Donald Sterling, who did awful, icky, terrible
things. They did heinous things. Forget those two, Nick. Dan Snyder.
Well, Dan Snyder, correct. But those guys did illegal things, so they were forced to sell the franchises. On this situation, you can't force them to sell the franchise. He didn't do anything illegal, at least that we know of. I mean, going to the MLBPA, like, that's cute, but it's not going to do anything.
Yeah, I mean, it won't do anything. I get the perspective, though, of like you're openly admitting that you're openly, in a way, admitting that you're not going to try to win next season, kind of in a way, maybe.
Right. And also, like, Tom had brought it up on Lounge the other night that, like, oh, he's worried about family-friendly prices. Give me a break. When is an owner ever worried about family-friendly prices?
Well, not sadly, but in a way, when Artie bought the club from the Disney company, that's what made him like a very splashy new owner when that happened. Because I recall this playing out, though, in real time about between 2003 and 2011 when they won their 3 consecutive division titles over that stretch, or their 5 division titles or whatever it was. Like I said, though, on Monday, ESPN ranked the Angel organization the #1 fan experience, though, because of their value, how they were on the field. It took into account on-field product, though, with what they had, but also prices for parking, beer, all that sort of stuff, though. They were #1, Nick, across all of North American pro sports, though, when that survey did come out by ESPN. But as we all said, though, on Monday on the Lounge, we heard these rumblings of this fan survey. Show me the money, sir. Where's the actual results out of these surveys?
Ugh, those surveys are so stupid, but I know what you mean. But, like, does anyone give 2 shits really about that actual survey, though? Or no? Like,
no. Nick, how about Nelson to begin measuring MLB games on Netflix this season, which includes the opening day standalone game between the Yankees and the Giants, but also the Home Run Derby and the Field of Dreams game? Your thoughts about the Nelson TV ratings now coming to Netflix for the upcoming baseball season?
Is it really going to matter that much, though? Because as long as Netflix pays millions of dollars, Amazon pays millions of dollars, it's not going to matter. They could say they're going to do all the ratings because they're going to watch how Netflix is doing. But as long as they pay more money than everybody else, they're not going to care what the ratings are.
Nick, how about Zach Brown Band's Give It Away will be played about 1,000 times during March Madness, which of course, Nick, reminds me a lot, though, of the first ever CFP when they went to the bracket. Fall Out Boy even wrote a apology letter because of the overplayment of Centuries when it first came out for the first ever playoff bracket. I think Billie Eilish had her song, about wearing the crown overly played. This happens, Nick, all the time with these spectacles, though. I don't mind it, but I think it does get redundant, though. But I think, though, when Fall Out Boy's releasing a apology letter, that is kind of saying something about, we're sorry that our song got overplayed the whole entire lead up to the tournament.
Yeah, that's like the new anthem in a sense, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, and the song changes every year for March Madness or the CFP.
I always wonder if that's a money thing or if that's a a choice, like for whatever song they're going to use going to break?
Gotta be.
I have no idea, because you realize that could be like a money play for the NCAA if they really wanted to.
Big time.
So I don't even know anymore. It's like one of those things where you're just like, oop. My phone is doing weird shit. Hold on a second. Crap.
Nick, how about Team USA's gold medal victory to break the 46-year gold medal drought over Canada, netting 18.6 million viewers on NBC, and it peaked at 26 million despite the 5 a.m. Pacific time start time?
I'm really not surprised, because it's Team USA. And we talked about this whole debate thing with Sean Marash, WFAN, getting mad at other staffers at WFAN because Jack Hughes scored a goal. And if you're a Rangers fan, you can't root for Jack Hughes or the Devils. Yeah, break. This is a rare feat to see both Team USA, men and women, win hockey gold. I mean, also, the first time in 46 years since the Miracle on Ice that the men finally won a Olympic gold medal. First time, I think, in 8 years, I think, for the women.
Since 2018 in Pyeongchang, South Korea.
Now, they've always been a good team. They just were outdueled.
They've won a medal at every women's hockey Olympic event, as I said on OFTB last night, since 98.
So, and obviously Hillary Knight, obviously big story. And then I'm forgetting.
By the way, that Substack I wrote blew the hell up, too, after the game ended on Thursday.
Did it?
Yes.
And then I'm trying to think of the other, I can't remember the woman's name. The first black
Layla
woman,
Edwards,
which was incredible. She had an incredible Olympics, by the way. But for her to be the first black woman to score a goal for Team USA hockey was kind of a cool story to.
And by the way, the women's game topped at about 7.7 million. But I think, though, not to say, though, again, because the men were in the very much, they were the last event of the games on Sunday, and there's been, complaining about that. I even think that AA had a story that Bettman even complained about the start time. There's no time to be able to move the game because you have to get through closing ceremonies. That's why the game was at 5 a.m. local time out here on the West Coast.
Yeah, and they started before the opening ceremonies played anyway, though. It was confusing how they did the scheduling.
Yeah, and usually, though, the Olympics usually have that, though, where there is events that take place beforehand because of how much time is devoted to all the events usually.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to plan around the Olympics for timing. So it's hard to know, like, should I plan this event here? Should I plan this event here? Do I put the hockey this time? But then you're going to screw up the East Coast or the West Coast. Like, there's no way to do it perfectly when it comes to scheduling.
Nick, Bob Iger, who is resigning from the Disney Corporation in March, is now being floated as a potential replacement for Casey Wasserman as the LA 28 Olympic Game Committee chairperson coming up in a couple of years because of the ongoing Epstein files.
Would I be against it? No. I mean, if Wasserman's part of the Epstein files and he's got an issue, then you got to boot his ass out of there. I think they should have done that already. Because, again, we talked about before, branding with March Madness, with Kalshi and all those issues. Do you really want to have an issue with the 28 Olympics, especially since it's in Los Angeles? No, you don't. You don't want a branding issue.
Excuse me. Finally, Nick, Netflix's Untold series is back with 4 new episodes that will be coming out later this month or early next month, including one about Lamar Odom's 2015 overdose, the Portland Jailblazers era, cheating in chess, and also a shooting involving a well-known equestrian rider.
I mean, I saw a clip come out from Lamar Odom on that new podcast, The Cousins, that one with Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady.
Yeah.
And the story he told where he said that during the offseason, he was basically sniffing coke, like or cocaine the whole offseason. But he said apparently during the season, he wasn't doing it. So usually cocaine is an addiction drug. And somehow he managed to stay off the...
Was on crack!
Oh, God.
But there's a lot of pressure on him. Obviously, he was on the Laker teams.
Marrying into the Kardashian family didn't help the cause.
Being on filming a reality show while being on the Lakers.
Then he went to Dallas.
Then he went to Dallas. Then he had the almost death overdose in the brothel in Las Vegas.
As much as that one's compelling, I think the Jailblazers one's a bit more compelling because we have a benchmarks episode about that coming up, like maybe next year, this way with how we're pumping up the content. But it's a real like rise and fall from grace for a franchise, Nick, who, that team, if not for the Lakers, would have probably won a title that year. And then it was the fall of Stoudemire and Wallace and all those guys, though, man. And they just had all the off the court drama, all the fights and practices, the arrests. Like, man, that was a tough fall for that organization that I don't think that they ever really fully recovered from.
No. I mean, Trailblazers have never won anything either. That's another franchise.
Oh, they haven't won since '79 with Bill Walton.
God, Bill Walton. But yeah, they're a franchise that has had a lot of big names. They just couldn't put it together for consecutive years at all.
Absolutely. All right, Nick, we'll get to our press clippings now. We got about 5 of them today, it looks like. Nick, the first big one, though, concerning March Madness, Ernie Johnson is skipping the first couple of weeks of the tournament, making his debut at the Final Four to return later on, though. But, Nick, it's the interesting hire of longtime former NFL player, current CBS This Morning talk show host, Nate Burleson, who's going to be filling in on March Madness's coverage for CBS and Turner.
What?
Yes, Nate Burleson. What? Yes, Nate Burleson.
Yeah, football player Nate Burleson becoming the host.
Also, he said though when the announcement was made though that he also played basketball, and if it wasn't for the NFL, he would have probably pursued playing basketball more than football.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. So he did so Ernie Johnson did address reducing the workload. Just want to make sure So he had stepped in for Gumbel, who had passed away in December 24.
Yes.
However, this year he will only host the Final Four coverage on site in Indianapolis. Questions have persisted what was behind the move. And according to Ernie Johnson, he was the one that requested additional time off.
Good for him.
Quote, at my request, I will take a step back from working the first 2 weeks of March Madness. Johnson told NJ.com in a statement, I appreciate the support from TNT Sports along with my CBS Sports colleagues. We have a tremendously talented broadcast team, and I look forward to hosting our studio coverage from the Final Four in Indianapolis. It makes sense as Johnson is in the latter stages of his acclaimed career as a television host. And as March Madness gets underway, EJ is increasing his Inside the NBA schedule with TNT Sports and ESPN. Similarly, Jim Nantz walked away from his college basketball duties with CBS to reduce his workload and focus on the NFL and PGA Tour coverage.
Makes sense.
The guy has been amazing, like just for many decades.
I even loved it though when Ernie was doing baseball play-by-play in the postseason for TBS about a decade ago.
I was so confused when that happened originally.
And the bowl game is over.
It's funny that a lot of people say, "Oh, they're going to miss Ernie Johnson." Like, okay, we get it, but if you want him to be preserved and last more years,
he's got to cut back a little bit, people.
I mean, he's still doing NBA on TNT, well, which is on ESPN, and he's still doing Final Four still, and he's doing other stuff. I mean, got to give him a break somewhat. He's been doing it for what, 30 plus years probably now.
I hope Tirico gets a chance to catch up on a lot of missed sleep after the whirlwind he had going from the Super Bowl out to Milan.
Well, he didn't do the NBA games. That's why
John Fanta filled in.
Well, you had John Fanta, and you also had Noah Eagle doing games because he usually does the Peacock games.
Yes.
But this guy is unbelievable. Like, what a career he's had. I don't
be in the Basketball Hall of Fame as a contributor for the media eventually. Ernie Johnson.
He's got to be in some Hall of Fames already.
Already. Nick, speaking of broadcasters, Kenny Albert's phone did not stop ringing off the hook, though, with text messages after he delivered not one but two legendary goal calls as Team USA Hockey swept the gold over in Milan Cortina, including Nick, a who's who of those who texted him and even getting a lot of acclaimed praise from fellow colleagues in the past few days after the women and men both won gold over in Italy.
483 text messages. Incredible. The call was amazing. He calls. I'm talking about another guy who can call all four major sports. By the way,
Baseball, basketball, football, hockey.
And I'm trying to find some of the names. Oh, okay. So I found some of the names. Apparently, Joe Torre called them.
Oh, wow. How about that?
He said, so someone asked him, who's the craziest one I had heard from? Joe Torre, for example, who I know a little bit, but we didn't have each other's number.
Ha! Someone gave Joe Kenny's phone number, obviously.
He also heard from Sarah Palin.
Yes. Former governor of Alaska, former presidential candidate.
Let's see who else. A who's who of New York media members reached out to Albert.
That doesn't surprise me.
Keith Hernandez, Howie Rose, Michael Kay, Susan Waldman, Mike Breen.
Bang! Bang!
That's the sound effect we need next.
Oh, what a shot by Curry! Bang!
Boomer Esiason.
Yeah.
Len Berman.
Okay.
Let's see. Others. Doc Emmerich.
Yes.
Hockey royalty right there.
Hockey royalty is right.
Wayne Gretzky.
Dwayne Jetski.
Adam Wainwright. Steve Lyons.
Hey.
Mark Grace.
Okay.
Daryl Moose Johnston.
Yes.
Rondé Barber. Tim Green. Pat LaFontaine.
LaFontaine.
And obviously his father himself, Marv Albert.
Yes.
But holy cow. Oh, and Howard Stern's producer, Gary Delabate.
Yeah, we heard about that too.
Holy cow. Imagine getting that type of, getting your phone blown up with all those big calls.
The only time that happens for me is on my birthday every May 18th.
Yeah, I know.
It's maybe one person.
Wow, and they're already back to calling games?
Yep, we are already back. Nick, Kevin Durant's media company, The Boardroom, has begun to lay off staff, the entire editorial staff, to focus on more creator content.
Well, back to the drawing board.
I don't know. I don't know what to say about Kevin Durant anymore. He'll be a Hall of Famer someday. He's won a few titles, even though if it wasn't for Steph Curry, he wouldn't have won those titles. Boardroom was actually not a bad.
It was pretty decent. I thought it was okay.
They did some podcasts. I know one of them was picked up by one of the other platforms. I don't remember which, but apparently they laid off 3 people. From what I understood, they were 3 full-time people.
3 people?
But Boardroom is kind of what we do. We cover the sports and business of the sports world. That's pretty much what it is. It probably was just a decline in read and digital views. That's probably what did them in. There's not much more to really say about it.
There isn't. Nick, speaking of Nick Wright is going to be shifting to poker. The current Fox Sports 1 host will co-host No Gamble, No Future for the Poker Go network starting sometime soon.
This makes total sense because Nick Wright is
down his alley, baby.
Is right down the gambling scene. He's played in the World Series of Poker before. He knows a lot of the big poker names like Phil Hellmuth,
Daniel Negreanu.
This is a no-brainer. This makes total sense that he's doing poker content. Nick Wright has had like a real resurgence, and he's on first.
I love his work, honestly, I do. Though he does say some outlandish bullshit, he is though really good though at what he does.
Well, he used to be on the same network as Skip Bayless, but yeah, you're right. He does go a little bit off kilter from time to time, but he's a little more logical than Skip Bayless would ever be. But I mean, he does his own podcast on the Volume because Colin and him are friends. He's got the show First Things First, which I heard does supposedly well. He's having a good career. He's doing fine.
Yes. Nick, finally, to wrap up the show today, Rod Allen is out in the Miami Marlins booth as the team moves to a rotation featuring former Marlin player Jeff Nelson and Tommy Hutton. But of course, though, Nick, if the name Rod Allen sounds familiar, though, there is not one but two different issues that popped up, though, on the radar during the course of his tenure with the Tigers on then Fox Sports Detroit or Fox Sports North. You might recall, though, but back in 2016, Allen yelled out second deck after James McCann hit a 3-run homer, but it's not like he said suck a dick, and it was picked up by the WXYT FM radio station in Detroit. But also, Nick, the main other issue was the physical altercation involving Rod Allen and his broadcast partner Marco Impembia, who were involved in a physical altercation off the air during a Tigers game against the White Sox. FS Detroit sent both men home on different planes, and the next game's broadcast was covered by Kirk Gibson and Matt Shepard. One source claimed that both men were arguing over a chair, and Allen putting Marco Mbia into a chokehold during the course of the event. Both men were suspended for the remainder of the season and later announced that their contracts were both not renewed for future seasons, which ended their 16-year partnership on Fox Sports Detroit. And now he is out, Nick, with the Marlins for local TV in Miami, Florida.
What the f? I mean, why are you choking people? Why are you
over a damn chair in the booth? Really, man?
You know what? When you work in broadcasting or you work in podcasting like we're doing, or you work in the digital space, you work in the broadcasting space, you get to know the people you work with because they're there every single day. And whether you like them or you hate them, you got to learn to be cordial when you work with people. Just people assume, like, when you work in a broadcast booth, that everyone is best friends and that they should just get along and be perfect. That's not how the world works.
No, and especially, Nick, though, and the thing I hear a lot, you probably know very well as I do, when it's also such a long bleeping season like baseball, 162, 81 home, 81 away, and also what also sucks, and I heard this from Dick Enberg about a decade ago when he was doing Padre baseball on TV, when the team also isn't good, that also brings morale down for not just the team, but also those around the organization.
Right. I mean, but like I continue to say, like, just because people share the booth, it doesn't mean that they're buddy and they're best friends and they go to each other's house for family dinners.
Or they send each other Christmas cards every holiday season.
Right. So it's called putting on a persona for TV.
Acting presidential.
Right. Now, the bigger markets, they work on the relationships of the booth.
Yes.
Because it's important. Because what did I read? So I think it's going to be Michael Kay and David Cohn doing a lot of the Yes Network games, or Michael Kay and Paul O'Neill. And sometimes they'll have a 3-person booth, but those three have worked together for years.
Lord knows how long, exactly.
Ruco's worked with all of them too. So it's about camaraderie, and that's why I think the Yankees kind of got lost in having too many former players. Remember I said, we get too focused on former players because we overindulge in what former players think. Thank you, Ryan Clark. But as long as you have chemistry, that's what people forget.
Yes.
In the booth. So,
yeah.
It is what it is.
All right, Nick. Well, this is going to time out just right to get to the 2 o'clock hour, 5 p.m. hour. Great program today. Thanks to the 156 people Twitter finally back on their A game tonight. Let's go, baby.
Yeah, baby. Let's go. Yes.
No, we're not breaking out the credential created crap. That's our victory music here on ETB too, along with that as well. Again, folks, reminder, and it has been confirmed. Just have to send off a reminder email. But yes, next Wednesday, March 4th, is our next show. Blake Bolden, Amazon Prime Video, ESPN and ESPN NHL analyst, will join us for about a 20-25-minute get-together next Wednesday, March 4th, back here on ETB. I finally reeled in the big one, or reeled in somebody finally for the show. I love it.
We did. Yes. 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 Yes.
So we'll have.
So this is the thanks I get for working overtime.
Yeah, like you're really working.
Yeah, I literally sent like 5 or 6 different messages on IG yesterday to 6 potential guests and finally got one back today.
I've tried. It's not so easy, isn't it?
But yes, we will, though, be joined by one of my great friends in the San Diego hockey community, Blake Bolden. Again, current analyst for ESPN and Amazon Prime Video. Great work with the LA Kings and their women's and girls hockey programs. We'll talk all things NHL, all things USA women's hockey, all things PWHL, and more for about a 20-minute get-together coming up next Wednesday. Nick, great to see you as always, and we'll catch you later.
Yeah, fun show again. See, you don't always need guests to do this show. Like this was weird because we were getting to our times a lot faster than we normally do during this show. I guess we're gonna have to add more stories to the show. Not that we do enough in 3 hours anyway.
Exactly.
But yeah, just make sure you follow us across social media when we announce guests at Press Row ETB across all social media platforms, at ETB Network as well for network platforms, and youtube.com/ETB Network. 158 people watching today. Thank you. Yes. Claps for Patrick. Yes. Thank you, Twitter and StreamYard, for finally getting your heads out of your asses. Finally.
Steel chair.
Yeah, really. That's what it felt like. But that'll do it for today's show. And anything left to say?
I think that's it. Great program. And again, folks, we'll have Blake Bolden of Amazon Prime Video and ESPN. She'll be around for about 20 minutes next Wednesday to talk all things hockey, her career. For those who don't know, Blake is the Jackie Robinson for women's hockey, the first black player to play in the former NWHL, CWHL. There's a lot of great things on TV across national platforms, even here locally in Southern California. So we'll have her on for about roughly 20 to 30 minutes next Wednesday afternoon and early morning. I love it.
I'd love to get her thoughts on the whole Team USA women going to the White House, because people were overreacting to that. So I'm curious to see.
We'll see how that what happens next Wednesday.
So I have a lot of questions about the Olympics for the women's team for sure. So I'm looking forward to that one. But until then, have a good afternoon or a good evening wherever you are, East Coast, West Coast, out of the country, wherever you are. But that's Press Row. He's Callan. I'm Nick. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye-bye.